Yo, what is going on, everybody? This is Brandon from ComixKings. Welcome, everybody, to the Kingdom and Station. We're here with Rockin Robbie live. I feel so cool saying that. Rockin Robbie, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Did you say Rocky Robbie? That's not
I
it.
said I was listening to Rocky. I watched Rocky last night before I watched Aliens, and I was like, it's like still in my head.
Okay. Yeah. Happy to be
uh,
here. Station.
Station.
Hello,
And today, you guys,
Brandon.
we got hello, Robbie. So there's a little bit of history behind this stream. So we have been chilling over on Manny's tomorrow Wednesday night show, and there has been a little bit of controversy between us. So we are going to be here talking about what we're enjoying in comics today, what we're not enjoying, what we would recommend to you guys. So Robbie, thanks again, bro, for being here. Let's say what's up to the chat. We got Fable in here because I was the first one before the chat jumped on me. Got to scroll all the way up. We got Travis in here. What is going on, Station? We got John, Station to you, sir. Eric. Boom. I'm just going to run down the list. We got Nick, Comic Culture, another homie who likes to give me a hard time. And if you're not giving me a hard time, you're not my friend. My friends give me hard times. Travis gives me the most shit. Fable. I already said what's up to Fable. We got a few other people in here. We got Jen Comics Will Break Your Heart. And I believe that is it. We got Brother Joe in here. What is going on? And if you guys have a book that you are really enjoying, boom, we got Big Herb and we got Sheena. Let us know in the chat below. Robbie, if you were to pick one book to recommend right now, what would it be? Shoot right off that.
It would be Kevin Smith and Joe Quesada's Daredevil.
No, absolutely not. Kevin Smith does not know how to write Daredevil. But that's a completely different story.
That's what I pick. No, if I had to pick one. If I had to pick one to recommend to just anybody, or maybe not just anybody, but if I could only pick one, it wouldn't be what I think is the best right now. But it is one of the best right now, Ice Cream Man. Ice Cream Man is one of the best comics on shelves, and it has been since it came out. And what's so great about this book and why it makes it one of the best comics on the rack, aside from just the quality of the execution of the craft involved, the nuance of the story, the bitter, sweet, sickly feel of the artwork and the unnerving tone. It's the fact that each issue is a one and done story. Now,
right.
If you read everything, you can piece together, there's this overarching thing, but that's not even near the focus, right? I can recommend that book to anybody. Oh, I can't get all the other previous issues. It doesn't matter. You can buy the newest issue of Ice Cream Man right now. And if you don't like it, you just don't like Ice Cream Man. But that issue, like, you could read it. And it's one of the single best written stories in comics right now. Every single issue. Breaking new ground, innovation, experimentation, provocation.
Right, 100%. I think that's a great book. I think even like the title Ice Cream Man is just so welcoming. But then once you're reading it, you just see all the twists and turns that are going on in the book. Now, I am way behind. Well, I know that's a book you can't say you're way behind on. I feel way behind because I'm traditional. I think most of us are in the chat as well. But I read the first volume, and I'm like, I want more. It's just my backlog is 5 omnibus deep. For me, I don't know. You threw out a great indie book. I'm going to throw out a DC book, even though DC's not my favorite industry. I'm going to throw out Nightwing, simply because it's a great introduction to new readers to experience like the lore of Nightwing for those who had never had that before. Because a lot of new readers, right? Nightwing is a brand new character to those people because he has been so out of comics for a long time and got the Dan DiDio treatment. So Tom Taylor's like taking him, making him his own character again. And it just feels so satisfying to have Nightwing be so seminal right now.
Nightwing is 3 issues into the new run and already probably one of the best DC books right now going. And it's because Tom Taylor understands the character. Right. Nightwing's not a broody character. You know, they get that wrong on the TV with the Titan show. They get it wrong in other books like Teen Titans Academy, in my opinion.
Right.
Dick is a very boisterously kind of fun and charming character. Tom Taylor's writing him that way. He's recreating the world of Bloodhaven. For, you know, I read the Chuck Dixon, Scott McDaniel stuff back in the 90s and loved it. Everybody loved Nightwing back then.
Oh, yeah, all the trades.
He's just been kind of up and down since then, right? But this is a return to that. And with Bruno Redondo on the artwork, and I cannot remember the cat's name, but the dude that does the coloring, that artwork is so sleek, so sophisticated, graphically amazing. They use interesting tricks with perspective. 3 issues in, this feels like it's going to be one of those evergreen runs that we'll talk about, like, say, a Matt Fraction Hawkeye or even a Mike Grell Green Arrow. It's going to be one of those books because it's nailing the character and the world, and it's also just doing something incredibly accessible with the artwork.
Right. And I think like what's so great about it, it's going back to basics, putting it with Batgirl and not like overusing her. Like the comic, like Tom Taylor obviously is talking to James Tynion with stuff that's going on with Batgirl, which I appreciate when comics talk like that a lot. I think, like you said, it feels so much like the Dixon run in the sense that they're capturing the characters so well, and the art is very simple, right? It's very like Russell Dodderman-esque. It gets the job done. It's not like super outstanding like a John Byrne, right? But it's doing its job so consistently that it's like standing out 100%. This is like
go ahead. I was going to say the line work may seem deceptively simple, right? But it's not. Like the way that he's telling the story is very Will Eisner, if Will Eisner was around today. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I get it. Like a lot of people will look at the art and they'll be like, oh, it's a little simple. And they like that more realistic comic book feel that they're used to, say like Neil Adams in the 70s, John Byrne in the 80s, Jim Lee in the 90s. And I love how we're getting people breaking out of that house style. And it makes things work. Like the style of the book, the coloring alone is adding to that. And I would throw back to that Chuck Dixon, Scott McDaniel Nightwing run. Scott McDaniel was a very unconventional choice at that time compared to other superhero artwork, which his is a little bit more traditional than, say, Redondo's work. But it's stylish, and that level of composition and sophisticated sequential storytelling is not necessarily simple. But I get what you're saying. The line work is simple and clean. And sometimes that's harder to do because a lot of artists, especially back in the 90s, they would just hide bad art with quote unquote detail, where they would just put a bunch of scratchy lines here and there. And people would be like, oh, look at the detail. And be like,
look at that bicep.
Yeah. Rob Liefeld. Nobody wears pants that tight. Nobody.
Right. Nobody holds a gun that, right? Like, look how he drew Cable. Look at how he drew Cap's shield, or the way Cap would be holding the shield, right? It's just like you said, they're trying to hide those details by over exaggerating something else. And I think an artist today that's guilty of that is Ed McGuinness on Heroes Reborn and in his Avengers. Even in Hulk it worked because it's Red Hulk, it works. But I think that Ed McGuinness is a 90s drawer 100%. But
Ed McGuinness, okay, like even Rob Liefeld, I mean, that's just a stylistic choice, and like Rob's got his style, Ed's got his style. It may not be necessarily what you may in particular like or anybody else. And I'm not the biggest Liefeld fan, but when I was a kid, I bought Brigade and I bought Bloodstrike, and I still love that entire Rob Liefeld Captain America run for some ridiculous reason, right? And Ed McGuinness, I really like. I mean, a lot of people would look at it and say it's cartoony, but he's, the way to exaggerate anatomy to make it dynamic like that. Ed McGuinness reminds me of some of the more dynamic in your face guys that we see, like a clean Eric Larson. I get a lot of Kirby influence out of McGuinness, and I'm actually really liking his work right now on Heroes Reborn. So
really, you're enjoying that book?
Enjoying the book? Yes, I am enjoying the book because my expectations were low. I really do like the Squadron Supreme. I think this event, just like it's an event. If this was just the next story in Avengers, I'd be way more forgiving of this part of it. But the fact that this is an event, there's no build up to this. I mean, there's some slight build up in the pages of Avengers, but this just kind of happened, right? Events need to build up. Like, I know people get tired of the events, but I don't get so tired of them even if they don't resolve in the most fantastic way, if it at least feels like I am so freaking primed and ready for it. Like when Death Metal hit, I had been reading all of the Scott Snyder Justice League stuff and just loving it. It was my favorite superhero book at the time.
It was great.
Right? So when Death Metal drops, I'm like freaking ready. When Jeff Johns was doing the build up into Infinite Crisis, like that was a big freaking deal, right? So like I love how sometimes books will do that, but I'm losing that at Marvel, and they're just cranking out these events. So as an event, Heroes Reborn is not satisfactory to me. But as just the next story arc of Avengers, I'm enjoying it. I love the spotlight on Squadron Supreme. I like Blade. It's like Age of Apocalypse, but Blade is Bishop. He's the one that remembers.
I thought you were going to say House of M. You know, it has like a lot of
House of M, Flashpoint, all that kind of stuff. Alternate reality type thing.
Right. And to your point, like when events are done right, they're kind of refreshing, and you're on for the ride. You know, like Death Metal didn't have a great ending. The buildup was great. Scott Snyder's Justice League with Jimenez and Manipool was so dynamic, and like his characterization was fantastic. With Aaron's Avengers, I think the reason why like events are being like all thrown in your face from both Marvel and DC is because of COVID. It's all because of COVID. 100%, or else they would have spaced it out a little bit more.
It was already doing that. It was already doing that though before COVID, right? The Marvel has a strategy, and so on the business side, they care about quarterly sales, right? So every 3 months, they got to like justify what's going on at Marvel, right? And so they have learned that events will do that. So even before COVID, you can track this back. They're kind of like in between mini events. And then there's usually like one big event a year or two. And then there are mini events. Like Heroes Reborn would be a mini event because it's more Avengers centric. But what they have learned is this. A lot of people that are into the comic books, but are more casual readers, they keep up with Marvel history through the events. And that's valid. You can actually do that for a while. Like if you just read Civil War into Secret Invasion, or, you know, however it landed into Siege, into, you know, you could follow Marvel's timeline. You could kind of understand where the heroes were and what was going on. And it would also entice you. Like if you read Fear Itself, you know, and you're like, oh, there was a different Captain America. What's up with that? And you like kind of maybe go check it out. Right. So they've learned that, and they learned that the sales get boosted. And before, at least they're doing events now and not just deaths. If you track it back to like 10 years ago, they were doing a death every quarter. Like every 3 months, there was a death. A big issue or a wedding, something like that. Then they've changed it to events. But they found that, here's the thing, events work. They may sit at the comic shelves all damn day long, okay? But as long as the retailers order them, that's all Marvel cares about. They don't care about sell-through in the comic shop, okay? So when Marvel says we sold 200,000 copies of this, that's nice. How many actually sold at the comic shops? That's a number I would really like to know. You know what I'm saying? Right. That would be a more accurate representation of the interest in a book. But they sell these big numbers. They throw in all these variants, these incentive covers. People are now collecting covers. They collect artists, so they'll throw an Art Germ cover, or they'll do a connecting cover, or they'll have a popular artist like J. Scott Campbell or somebody come in. So they have learned that they can boost their numbers up every 3 months with a number one and a number two of an event. And that's all they need to do. It's crazy.
And I was just talking to people like the other day about Berserker completely like going balls to the walls in their sales, but that's because their print run was so high. What I want to know, if let's say one person walked in, they bought 5 covers. Let's say all 5 of those covers counted as one sale. What is that one customer to book ratio? That I think that would be a much better representation of how that book is selling. It will still be a great selling book, but nowhere like record breaking in my opinion, right? Because they're throwing in crazy variants. You know, you can find a 1 in 50 variant for like $20 at your LCS. 1 in 15 is almost retailer price. But yeah, and I would love to see those breakdowns as well, right? Because that's really what it all comes down to, who is reading these books. But now I feel like comics have become more of an investment with those ratio covers. For me personally, if I don't fall in love with a ratio cover, I'm not going to buy it. You know, not just because of that artist or who it is. You know, like Terry Dodson is a great friend of the show, and he actually gave me that Adventure Man poster. But
nice.
I'm not gonna buy a cover of his that I don't necessarily like, and there are those covers. I'm not just gonna go deep diving. I mean, I don't have the wallet for it. I don't have the budget. Nor do I. You know, I have to fall in love with it. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. By the way, my advice on ratio variants incentives, right, is only buy them if you really, really like it. Because I don't think that those are necessarily the best and wisest investments, because they kind of go down very quickly.
Right.
comics are an investment. And if you want to collect comics to incur value, that is a legitimate thing that you can do. In fact, I work at a comic shop. That's kind of what we do. You know, we buy comics and then we sell them, right? So like I get doing that and that's fine. But there's also the level of investment, meaning it's an investment of, read some of these and have some fun with it. And that's something like with Berserker. Boom did a really good job of boosting up the hype on this book because first of all,
100%.
Keanu Reeves. There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Selling point right there. Keanu Reeves. And they kickstarted it. A lot of people don't remember that, but they kickstarted it. So they already had a big influx of money, right? Of capital to work with there. And I love it because it's like the biggest Matt Kent book ever. And Matt Kent is a genius in this industry. Okay. And the book sold really well and it's continuing to sell well. It's like 12 issues total. We'll know if you like from issue 6 on, those are the people that are reading it. You know what I'm saying? Or the people just trying to collect the whole run. Right. But it's nice for a shop or a company to sell a lot of a number one, but sustaining that over multiple issues, that's where we see growth in the industry. Like spec is good for the market because it brings people in and it drives interest. And here's something, for instance, like with the toy market right now, the toy companies are providing way less supply than the demand. That seems ridiculous because you make money selling toys, right? You make money selling comics. But for instance, the second and third foil printings or whatever for Berserker, like through the roof in price. People were crazy on it. They allocated them. They only printed a certain amount. Why would they do that? Why would they not meet that demand? And it's almost now in 2021, social media impressions and ad revenue on things like that matters more. Chatter matters more now than money to some of these companies. And it's crazy. I feel like that's kind of hitting the comic book world a little bit at times. Right, 100%. And thank you, Travis, for dropping the link. So up to PCP, who also has his own exclusive cover coming on. Robbie, I do want to plug your stuff, so how would you give us a little bit of a rundown on that? Well, we have a bunch of people here.
Yeah, we worked with Second Sight Publishing, just like Bueller and Bob did for their Chess #1 and Blowtorch #1 variants. And we commissioned Jonathan Lau to do a cover for Blood, Skulls, and Chrome #1, due out at the beginning of June, I believe. We're taking pre-orders right now. We are less than 100 left, and they're starting to move quicker. So if you're interested, I would jump on it right now. It's going to have our big logo on the back. I'll sign them. I'll get the crew to sign them, anything like that. But so since it's called Blood, Skulls, and Chromed, and it's a biker gang book. They said it's very much like Sons of Anarchy. It's got that Sons of Anarchy vibe. It's about a biker gang versus another biker gang over territory and business with like a Mexican cartel. So it's right like in that biker gang crime fiction vein. So we got a commission by Jonathan Lau to do an homage to the 1973 Ghost Rider #1. So it's a great image. Awesome. Super striking. We're selling sets. There's a trade dress color version, like the full-on version. And then we're doing a virgin black and white version of it. And we're selling the sets, and they're supremely limited, and they're dwindling. But we're selling the sets for $24 plus $6 shipping in the US. And if you want one, just email us, popculturephilosophers@gmail.com.
There you go, you guys. And they are great variants. They're all over Instagram. So, and even if you can't reach out to Robbie directly or you have his email, check out anyone in the Bad Batch, because they'll hook you up as well. Or they'll send you on to Robbie. And then they're very vocal. They're, in fact, sometimes a little bit too vocal.
Station!
I
love it. The Bad Batch, as well as the entire PCP army, we all believe in certain philosophies. And one of those philosophies is commit to the bit. So there you go.
There you go. And I love the lingo that you guys have in that community. Obviously, like everyone knows Station, but like there's a lot of other lingo that you guys are doing to kind of make the large comic community feel like a family of like a few people, which is great, And I really do appreciate that community, which is great people in there as well. So what is a book you would not recommend? We just talked about a book you would recommend. What is something you would not recommend?
Something I wouldn't recommend to someone. Oh, gee,
I have like 6 going through my head right now.
There's a lot, but if there's a particular book that just really gets on my fucking nerves right now, is Amazing Spider-Man.
Mm,
Amazing Spider-Man
yes.
gets on my nerves because it's overindulgent. Like, I really, really like Nick Spencer. I think Nick Spencer is a really talented writer. I do not, for the most part, like Nick Spencer on superhero books. Like, I don't know. He's a long-winded writer, and that's fine, but it doesn't work for something. This is a kindred shit. An Amazing Spider-Man has been going on for so long, and it's so self-indulgent to have a 6-part story, but you have these 6.1 issues as well, and these 2 giant sizes in the middle, and everybody likes to complain and whine about DC's price increase, and it's a valid complaint. But like, Marvel will give you 3 or 4 issues of Spider-Man in 1 to 1.5 months, and like 2 of them will be like $5, $6, just out of nowhere. It's ridiculous how long this thing's been going. There are elements of it that are working, but that's, for instance, that's one I wouldn't. But here's the thing. The sales are there. So as long as people keep buying it, it's going to go. And a lot of people do like it. But right now, like, that's one that really irks me. And I wouldn't recommend that. I also wouldn't recommend Excalibur. I've just not been liking that one. But these aren't books I necessarily hate. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there was a book I hated, I would forget about it, to be honest with you. But I do not have fun sometimes with Spider-Man. That being said, here lately, it's been pretty solid. But I'm not fooled. If you want to read some good Nick Spencer, read The Fix. Read Infinite Vacation. That's one of Nick Spencer's best stories because he told a very wild, psychedelic, and sci-fi story in 5 issues. Like, that blew my mind. And Morning Glories. Morning Glories is super solid. And he does, and Superior Foes of Spider-Man. All the Boomerang stuff in this run I really liked. I liked how that wrapped up. But oh my goodness, talk about dragging shit out. This Kindred stuff. Oh my! And now they're like, oh, Kindred isn't what we thought. Who fucking cares at this point? Just end the goddamn story.
Right, and that was supposed to be like the height of his run, and it fell flat on its face, right? So when Spencer came into this book, that was something that he teased from jump, didn't get to it till like 45 issues later, and it fell flat on its face. You know, Mark Bagley made it great, Gleason made it great, but they can only do so much of the storytelling. I was actually very excited for the book when it first hit the shelves. Ryan Otley's a fantastic artist. I don't understand why he couldn't draw James Jonah Jameson to save his life. It looked just like Nolan Grayson, but I don't get it. But this run is like I'm getting the sense that he's using some of his favorite stories from his times as a kid, or even like as like an early adult reading Spider-Man, Brand New Day. He's referencing everything he can.
He's referencing a ton of 80s stuff, which I appreciate. Like this latest
Spider-Man is written. This
latest twist, like for instance with the Rose, like I love that stuff. That's the stuff I read when I was first reading comics at like 5, 6, and 7 years old. I was reading that stuff. So I appreciate it and I dig it. But oh my God, it's just so freaking long.
But here's the thing. Like, I appreciate the moments he's trying to reach for, but I'm like, oh, you're so close. You're so close. You just didn't get there. I also don't like how he's bringing a bunch of characters and then not paying them off, bringing in more, not being able to pay those off. It's like right now we have too many lingering things. And if this is home stretch coming in, not this arc, but the next one, the next big event that he's doing, it's like his payoff. He has a lot to wrap up with so many characters, and I hope he doesn't have Humberto Ramos trying to do it all like he did in The Hunted, or even Bagley. Like, don't waste Bagley's talents writing a shitty story. That's something that I hate because I think Bagley's the best Spider-Man artist. I'd put him over McFarlane 100%.
Station.
Hey, we agree, right?
I mean, the best Spider-Man artist probably John Romita. And then Ditko, but my favorite is Bagley. Like, Bagley draws the best Spider-Man. His Ultimate Spider-Man is amazing.
It's fantastic.
The problem with Bagley now is that he's become Marvel's go-to guy when they got to get a book going. So he's just cranking it out and he's doing it quicker. Right. And you're starting. It's obvious that he's doing that, and that's the only problem with it. It's not as clean because he's also getting up there. I've met Mark Bagley. He's super freaking cool dude. I met him and Fabian Nicieza, and they did New Warriors, which I was like 10 years old when that book came out, so that was like perfect for me. So his work is just a bit rushed, I think, now because he's kind of like Romita, and they're like, oh, we can get this guy to do 2 books in a month and a half. So.
I still think it's solid though. I mean, it's not like what he did in Ultimate Spider-Man. It's not like what he did in the past, but I think it's still the best looking art we have in Spider-Man right now. Like Leeson's is very clean. It's very much like his Superman, just the colors are just a little bit darker. But I actually really enjoy Bagley's art. That was a big reason why I enjoyed the previous issue that just came out.
Yeah.
Even though it was the same shit, it was just Bagley jog. I'm like, yes.
That issue was pretty good. That issue was actually
solid.
pretty good.
It was solid. It wrapped everything up. It wrapped up some stuff. It gave us a few more avenues, but I liked the closure. With Tombstone and Robertson, I actually enjoyed that part of it. And I actually enjoyed seeing Mordo drawn by Bagley. I think that was like the highlight was that first page. I was like, that's dope.
Yeah, I actually like that last issue. I liked the stuff with Tombstone and Robbie. That was great. So I like that issue. That's the problem with Spider-Man, and that's why I can't quit it, is because there are parts of it I like.
Right.
And I liked how the Boomerang stuff wrapped up, and that's not over either. The Boomerang story's coming back.
Right.
He's gonna wind up helping Spider-Man help save him throughout the Sinister War, and here's the thing. Do we need another fucking miniseries for him to tell another Spider-Man story?
No.
Like, come on. They're like fooling us. They think they're fooling us. They think they're fooling us, Brandon. They think that
they're not, Robbie. They're not.
This is just a 4-issue story. Yeah. Then you got like 8 point something issues.
8 point.
Fucking point BS is what it is. It's just them taking advantage of people because they'll buy Spider-Man. Just like Herm said, DC takes advantage of people buying Batman. At least all the Batman books have a distinctive vision. And if you don't like one, there's probably another one that you'll like. You know, you don't 100%. Have to follow all the Batman books. But if you want to follow Amazing Spider-Man, you have to follow all that shit.
Right. And I think with the last Remains arc, when they had all the Spider people, the Council of Spider Women, I called them. I didn't read those tie-ins. I didn't pick them up. I read them digitally. I'm guilty of that, but you could read the whole event without doing it. I think that part was just like a major cash grab and let's just get Spider-Man, boom, boom, boom. I would much rather prefer them to like have a friendly neighborhood, a spectacular, a web of Spider-Man. Like you have symbiote Spider-Man, but Greg Land can't draw, so I'm not buying that. I would love it. I would be buying that book out the butt if Greg Land did not draw. That's my biggest.
I would too. It's Peter David.
So frustrating. It's Peter David.
Yeah.
Expanding the narrative he did in the 80s.
Yeah. Give me Todd Knock on that, and I'd be cool.
God. I was just talking with Todd Knock a few weeks ago. I'm like a station viewer, and I was like, dude, you should draw this. He's like, but I used to. And I'm like, I know. And he didn't believe me. And I'm just like, but I know.
I just want to address something with Bueller real quick. Hey, Bueller, great show today. Thanks for all the kind words. And I'll send you a pic of me picking my nose so you can use it. I think that'd be funnier.
I will be catching the replay, but Bueller, your first time here, I think that's just because Robbie's here, so thank you so much for being here. I think a lot of these people are because Robbie's here, so thank you, Robbie. But I miss those days. Like I miss like Tom Taylor doing Friendly Neighborhood. That was a great story. Zdarsky on Spectacular, and then you had Slott who was wrapping up Amazing then. So I was very on board with those, and that was kind of when I first started collecting and getting into comics. Was at the end of Slott Spider-Man.
Oh wow. Okay. So they used to have a very healthy line for Spider-Man, and there would basically be a different issue a week, kind of like they did with Superman and like they did with Batman. They're continuing with Batman.
Right.
And so there was Spectacular, there was Web Of, there was Peter Parker Spider-Man, and there was Amazing, and there was, all that stuff. And that was cool. But what happened was right after Straczynski left, they went into Brand New Day and they doubled down on the idea of just instead of having 4 Spider-Man books a month that are 4 different books, let's just do it. They did it 3 times a month, and they got a bunch of different writers. They had a very cohesive vision for what they were doing, and it kind of worked. And they just been kind of on that track ever since. And now that people are trained into that, when they do these other Spider-Man books, like Tom Taylor's Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man with Juan Cabal was amazing.
It's fantastic.
It was really good, right? And I hear really good things about the Zdarsky. That was a little bit earlier in his writing for superheroes, so I think it was still a bit clunky at the beginning. But, it evened out, right? And he did some amazing work with J. Jonah Jameson that still has ramifications in the book today.
100%, man.
Yeah.
And like I said,
they lost that. They lost that. Yeah.
They definitely lost their footing with Marvel. And I've always looked at it this way with Disney, especially, is whenever they don't have the rights or something isn't doing well in the movies, or there's something that's not right in the movies. Like Spider-Man right now, they're making a huge deal with Sony for it. That's the only character Disney will ever make a deal for is Spider-Man, right? But because they have that deal, I feel like they're not letting that book or that character breed new talent or breed new stories. They're only keeping it as to that one. They did the same thing with the X-Men when they were owned by Fox. Like, you could be our fourth favorite book. You can be the fourth best book on the shelf, but you can't be better than A, B, and C. That's giving us movies. That's just my theory, right? Look at the Inhumans. Why do we have Death of the Inhumans? Why haven't we seen them? It's because the show sucked. And they know it sucked, right? Why don't we see any more of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Because people lost major interest in that show. As much as I enjoyed it, Disney didn't feel the same way. So they're kind of hiding it. They're like, it's here, but we're pulling back as far as we can.
Well, they're not pulling back on Spider-Man at all because they're doing, all the events and they've had success with that. So, they're going to keep going because they those Spider events, they sell. There are people that just collect Spider-Man books, just like there are people that just collect X-Men books. And that's why you will have an X-Men event going on at the same time as another event. And things like that. But like Spider-Man, they know that book sells because there's a lot of people that may not even read it. There's a lot of people that don't even read the book, but they collect it because they've always collected Amazing Spider-Man.
Right, and
because that's Marvel's like number one. Yeah,
that's their number one, right? And 100%, Spider-Man is a character that will always sell, just like Batman will always sell. X-Men, for the most part, will always sell, which will lead me to my next point in another book that I'm really enjoying because he's my favorite character, and that's Daredevil. I'm 100%. Yes, sir. And I think Daredevil has gotten great treatment in each of his runs. Like, I think the only one that did not get nominated for an Eisner in the past few years that was seminal was Charles Soule's, which is still a great run. Ron Garney on the art, Phil Noto, and Mike Henderson filled up the back half of it. It was a great run. Zdarsky, what he's doing now, he's kind of taking what Miller did, but he's just like giving it a little bit of steroids. That's kind of what I see. I think he's also taking like different inspirations from different arcs in Daredevil and also like kind of pumping the drugs in. He's giving like a lot of retcons, but also with his own vision. And I think Zdarsky's doing a fantastic job. And Cicchetto's amazing. I like Cicchetto. He's cool.
That book soars when Marco's on the artwork.
It does.
And it falls a little bit into mediocrity when he's not on the artwork. For me.
Right. When Fornes was doing the art, I was not.
Fornes was, to me, perfect for that. Fornes has got such a David Mazzucchelli type style that I think is perfect for Daredevil. But then they lured him away into Rorschach, and he's doing work on Rorschach that is levels above anything he's done to this point. Now, I'm a huge Fornes fan. Check out the book he did with Kyle Higgins for Dynamite. They try to reboot and relaunch Magnus, Robot Fighter. It was a 5-issue series, Between Two Worlds, I think is what it's called. That book is freaking phenomenal, yo. And his artwork, like I said, is very David Mazzucchelli. It's actually perfect for Daredevil. If he would have been the alternating artist, I'd have been cool. It's a different style. And I think what you need to do when you have an alternating artist is find someone with a similar-ish style to make it kind of cohesive, or at least, the same colorist. And they work with that at times. But like Mike Hawthorne stuff, and it's also the fact that right now in the book, and by the way, I'm loving Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil. Zdarsky, like you said, he understands the legacy of these characters that he's working with, whether it was Spectacular Spider-Man, whether it was his Fantastic Four work with Marvel 2-in-1.
Boom.
Which was freaking amazing, right?
And his Invaders as well that he did, the miniseries was great.
And he's doing it right now with his Red Hood. He knows the history of these characters, the trappings of the superhero genre, and how to make it feel fresh yet classic at the same time. And that's why Zdarsky's Daredevil is appealing to new fans and old fans, because it's hitting both of those chords right now. But man, talk about drawing something out. And this isn't drawn out necessarily because of the way we read comics month to month. It feels more drawn out than it actually is. Maybe in trade it will read better, but all this stuff with Matt in prison wearing his mask, it's so hokey, it's so goofy, and I embrace that. But I'm like, man, I'm so tired of this. Let's move on. All the Elektra stuff with that beautiful, beautiful Cicchetto artwork, great. And it's stretching the character further. All Matt's doing is the same Catholic guilt that we've seen, right? So right now, and that's not the focus. If that's not the focus, I'll tell you what, would have been bolder for me. Let Matt not really be in the book for 5-6 issues. Let Elektra take the lead.
Right, and I think that would have been a cool perspective as well, because you already see like her struggle, especially in the most recent issue, like that inner turmoil going on inside of her. I would have liked to see that being even more straight out, because this is a very temporary thing, and it's coming to an end right now with spoilers going on right now with Bullseye being back in the ring, crazier than ever.
Yeah,
you know, I think this whole end game, this big event, is going to be wrapping up within the next 10 or 12 issues, if not a little bit less. Knowing Zdarsky, he'll draw it out to that. But Mike Hawthorne, I think him and him and Giacchetto like are a little weird. I don't know. I think Foggy's face like scarred me a little bit. I think that was the worst Foggy I've ever seen. But
you know who drew a really good Foggy Nelson? Joe Quesada.
Oh, fuck you. But you know who couldn't write Foggy or Matt Murdock? Kevin Smith.
All right, young man. All right, okay. I have to address this real quick. Have you read Frank Miller's Daredevil in its entirety?
I have.
Okay, then what are you talking about? Like, dude. Okay, first of all, I have a very strong attachment to Kevin Smith's Daredevil because it was my first Daredevil book I ever really read. Okay. I read some of the Scott Lobdell stuff before that, and I'd read some of the stuff when he had the armored costume, but I didn't really get into it until 1998. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, Brandon. When that book came out, there was nothing like it. It was so freaking dark. It played on all the Catholic stuff. It played on the end of day stuff. Now, in 1998, I'm sure you're aware. Yet. Okay, you weren't even born yet. Okay, wild. In 1998, when this book came out, I was a senior in high school, and everybody was into this 99 Millennium Fever, and all these movies were coming out, like End of Days and the Bless This Child. We were back into this apocalyptic kind of thing. So it played on that, and it made Daredevil. It took Daredevil back to the roots of the Frank Miller-esque stuff, without just completely ripping it off, but at the same time paying so much tribute. The Karen bit in that, oh my goodness, the Bullseye bit. Like, I love it so much. And let me tell you something. It may not be the greatest Daredevil story, and I would argue that it is not the greatest Daredevil story. It's not even in the top 5. Yes. Not even, it may be in my top personal 10, but it's not as good as some of the others that came after or before. But it is by far the best Mysterio story that we have ever gotten. That was Mysterio actually doing what Mysterio is capable of, and he wrecked this dude. And that Guardian Devil story, as frustrating as it was because it took forever to come out, is freaking fantastic. But Quesada's artwork is better in parts of a whole, the David Mack story. But anyway.
Well, yeah, I think I would prefer Quesada over David Mack. I think back then his artwork was a little bit more sloppy. It took a lot of time, but now you do make some good points about the Kevin Smith run, but let me tell you why you're wrong.
Okay, right? Please do, young man.
Let me tell you why you're wrong. A lot of times when writers don't understand how to write Daredevil, we can't see, which puts them at a disadvantage. They overfill the story with too much dialogue and too much foreshadowing. It's almost like when Steranko was writing Nick Fury and had like those long boxes of just words floating around. That's what Kevin Smith's Daredevil really felt like to me. And it was such a jarring thing. So I think there's somewhere between him and Quesada where they couldn't capture Daredevil's senses. So they just overdid the dialogue to me. You know what part? And that was a big distraction from the narrative that they were trying to tell. That's my biggest letdown. Now, I mind what you did to Karen. I'll get over that at the end of the day. I like what you did in Mysterio. But when you're writing someone like Daredevil, you really want to capture the emotion and the feelings, not through words, but through like the sequence. Less is more, and I don't think Kevin Smith accomplished that at all.
Let me tell you something, young man.
Okay. All right, old man.
Kevin Smith is a verbose writer, but being verbose doesn't mean that you're not a good writer. Okay.
I didn't say he was a bad writer. I just said Daredevil wasn't that good to me.
I get it. And that's fair and that's valid. That's valid, bro. I feel you. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. But the way that Joe Quesada and Jimmy Palmiotti paced his dialogue out was amazing. And his dialogue is actually very snappy. And if you are familiar with Kevin Smith's work up to that point, which was a handful of movies and some comic books like Clerks, right? That Clerks comic book is incredibly wordy, but it is so freaking funny. And the flow of that dialogue works. You can look at some Bendis pages from the same era and be like, oh my goodness, that's too many words. But not necessarily does it flow. That book flowed. And the importance of that book, here it is. That book led to Joe Quesada becoming editor-in-chief of Marvel. That led to a complete gear shift in the way that comic books were made. And it took it away from that more verbose style and into something. So you got to understand, too, that Kevin Smith was writing in an era where that was how you did it. I don't ever want to hear anybody complain about a verbose writer and then say Stan Lee's the greatest comic book writer ever. Do you get what I'm saying? Literally telling you what you can clearly see on the page. But that's how comic books were written. Okay. Smith did it in the same way. Look at those Frank Miller issues. There's a lot of words. It's comparable. There's a lot of little images, but it's about the flow and the mood and the atmosphere. To me, that Daredevil run was amazing. It made Daredevil a bestseller. It launched Joe Quesada that he would eventually become editor-in-chief.
Right.
Changed Marvel so much for the best. Right. And there you go.
I feel like
Joe never Quesada, trust Kevin Smith to deliver a script on time.
Yeah, right. I don't know. My problem with Quesada's art, well, most of it was fine. It wasn't the best we've seen, but it was fine for my standards in a Daredevil book. I thought he was more of like a pinup artist. Like whenever you needed a cool page, he could draw it, right?
Yeah, he's a 90s artist, bro. That's what they did.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know. It's like, look what Frank Miller, we're talking about artwork, right? Look at what Frank Miller did with the space in his panels. And look what Quesada did. I feel like Quesada was just much better at just a full layout page, right? Than actually mastering the space in the background and the layout, unlike what Frank Miller. Frank Miller was a genius at that. Even Jim Lee, I heard Jim Lee speak, that's what he took inspiration from when he was doing Batman Hush.
I remember reading that book and loving the way Quesada was drawing lips and noses and loving the way he was doing smoke. I love the way he handled smoke. And there was one scene in which the Black Widow was bending over. I remember liking that one a lot when I was in high school for some reason. But the coloring too, like if you look at any other Marvel book from that era, like that Daredevil book, like with the paper, with the quality of the coloring, even the lettering, it was so levels above. And Quesada was a better editor than I think he was an artist. Okay. I don't think 100%. Quesada is the best artist, but he understands comic book art and he understood comic book art of the 90s. You know, if you look at his run on Ash, which was his thing, he was doing what everybody else was doing. The 90s were all about TNA, Flash, in your face, big bang, big muscles, hair, legs, all kinds of stuff like that. But he threw a little bit of nuance in there. He would do some interesting things. Greg Capullo is another one. To me, Greg Capullo is the best 90s artist because he was the best at telling a story as well as being flamboyant and flashy. So I get what you're saying.
Even better than Todd McFarlane.
But I was there. I was there. Oh, man, let me tell you something. Greg Capullo is such a better storyteller than Todd McFarlane. That's why Todd let him do the majority of the Spawn issues.
I just want to hear your thoughts because I'm not caught up on Spawn right now. I'm like, what, 5 issues in?
My thoughts on what? Spawn right now?
Oh, no, like just your thoughts on Capullo.
Capullo was the best Spawn artist. And, you know, he drew more issues of Spawn than anybody for a reason. He drew more issues than Todd McFarlane. His big strength, aside from as a marketer, is an inker. Like his big artistic strength to me is as an inker. So him inking Capullo, that's amazing. Capullo knows how to tell a story to me a whole lot better than Todd. Todd relies on certain tricks and that's fine. And I love Todd. He is the Todd father for a reason, but there is another reason why he let Greg do that book for so freaking long. And those are the best issues of Spawn artistically until nowadays we're, you know, like, what was his name? Was it Jason Alexander? No, that's the guy from the Burning.
Jason Alexander did some Spawn.
Okay,
and
same name. But like he's that gritty, you know, Ashley Wood did some stuff back in the day too. And I like that Todd recognizes the different styles as long as they make sense, you know. But Capullo's amazing. And then his art went up again when he did Batman. And Capullo's one of those artists that he's the best 90s artist for me because he's got that flash, that style, but he can really break it. I remember he used to do these, I don't remember if he just did one or two or a few of them, but he used to do these things in Wizard Magazine where he would tell you like the tricks. That's some of the first time I learned what they were doing technically to manipulate the flow of time to the reader, right? And to stretch events out or to shorten them, to make a moment big, to make it hit, to make it pop. I learned a lot of that from Greg Capullo. Spawn nowadays, though, it's one of the best values in comics. $2.99. There's a new issue this week. Spawn is fun. And if you want to, if you're like, oh, I'm so far behind on Spawn, don't worry. So was I. Do it like we did in the old school. Just pick the newest issue up and jump
and
along.
learn from there. That's how
Just
I got
hop
into
along.
comics.
Yeah, that's
exactly what I started doing. I went to a dollar bin at Awesome Con and I just started picking out characters. Boom, boom, boom. Went to the
Hell
store.
yeah. That's what we all did.
Right.
You know, that's
Boom.
what you do,
That's
man.
really how you get into continuities. You just learn the characters and it'll all come in time. But that's not unless you're trying to desolve what Hickman is doing, because that even knowing the continuity, you don't know what Hickman's doing, which leads me to my next point. Read X-Men. It's great. Except for X-Corp. But
X-Corp's the most boring comic book I've read in a long time.
So boring. And I love Teeny Howard.
Can you just imagine Jordan White and the rest of the X editors sitting in a room being like, I see a lot of online chatter about how people are tired of how many X books there are. So let's give them one about the business side of it.
I feel like here's the thing. I don't think, me personally, I'm not tired of the X-Men if it's going to pay off, which I think Hickman is going to do. I have full confidence in him. He always delivers. That's something you can't take away from Hickman is that he'll never let you down. He has a vision. I think that when you're looking at a visionary like Hickman, like Al Ewing, I would even put Scott Snyder, Jeff Johns. They tend to hit. Not always Jeff Johns. Scott Snyder, hit or miss, mostly hit. But for Al Ewing, Jonathan Hickman, two of the better visionaries of this line of comics. Back in the early 2000s, Bendis was a great visionary, but I think Hickman does have a great end game for the X-Men. This story has taken a lot of time, and I think it's very refreshing for X-Men fans to finally have something seminal that they can call theirs, and that's something you can't take away.
The trick with the X-Men right now is to just read the Hickman bits or read the stuff that you like. Like many people feel like they have to get it all.
You don't.
And you don't, but then they do a Ten of Swords crossover or the Hellfire Gala, right? So that makes people feel like they've missed out on something. Like Ten of Swords. Let's just say you just read the Hickman stuff and then you collected all the Ten of Swords stuff. You probably would have benefited to reading some of Teeny Howard's Excalibur,
Well, that's because that's where it stemmed from with Apocalypse, right?
That's the problem, is that like so much of this that's what's happening with these events. Like the current event is all stemming from stuff in the Marauders. Okay. So you also got to kind of understand that like Hickman's got his people that he chose. It's Howard, it's Duggan, it's Percy. So I wouldn't be, I guarantee there's an X-Force event
Leah Williams.
next. Leah Williams now doing some stuff, right? But like those were the three that were there at the beginning, and that are helping him develop this other world. All of the ideas that are going to be manifest towards the end are going to be all centric in the Hickman books. Like what he's doing right now with the Children of the Vault in the last couple issues, that's more important than any issue of Excalibur or X-Force or Wolverine or Cable or Marauders or New Mutants or whatever, So, and here's the thing too, Hickman is a divisive writer. A lot of old school people don't necessarily like what Hickman does with their properties. And I understand, the X-Men are completely different, but it was so stagnant and boring for so long. At least we're talking about it now. And I love Hickman's X-Men. I think it's the best Marvel book being put out right now. So, yeah. Right.
And I think like what Hickman is also, he's choosing his creative teams very carefully. It's a very thoughtful process that he's going for, which that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm all in. It's like, when have you ever had a comic book in Marvel, right? In like this 2000 era, right? The 21st century, where you have just a bunch of heads in the room behind a tunnel vision, right? Because like what Donny Cates did was Donny Cates doing Donny Cates, right? Bendis doing Bendis. This is Hickman working with a group of creators to tell a narrative, to bring back a cast of characters that we haven't like seen have this much love since Claremont. I would even say since Claremont. You know, Morrison introduced a bunch of new characters, but Hickman is taking everything and all the problems between all these different runs of the X-Men and just, I feel like, I don't want to say fixing them, but he's making them more sound. Right? I think like one of my biggest complaints for the longest time is why Magic and Colossus and then some of the newer X-Men were all similar in age and development. Also, my biggest problem with Franklin Richards, but that's a different conversation. This is more like he's kind of separating the newer mutants, the ones from the original New Mutants, and then the X-Men that we know. That's just my opinion. That's what I've been gathering, and that's something that I've been enjoying.
Basically, what happened is Hickman's like, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is where I'm building up to, and here are the characters I'm using. So y'all can have fun with the rest, but they all have to fit these rules of Krakoa. They all have to fit this vision, and you all have to write infographics. Like,
infographics are helpful though.
I love that. I love when Hickman does that in his books, and I love the ones in X-Men, but some of the other ones don't do it very well. I'll be honest.
Yeah, that's my biggest complaint about Vita Ayala's Children of the Atom. I want to be excited for that book. I really do. I think Vita Ayala is a great creator. They are really doing a lot of great work with the X-Men.
Fantastic. I got to meet them in 2019, and they are absolutely amazing. But the New Mutants just isn't working for me right now.
Really, I'm enjoying that more than Children of the Atom, and I think that for Vita Ayala, their character development isn't as strong because it's their first work creating a bunch of characters in a universe like the X-Men. And they are writing it like, we know these characters for years, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not like you can make those tropes with Young Avengers. Oh, okay, we've seen this before. Boom, boom, boom. Easy to line up. But even Heinberg really made them their own and introduced them as their own selves. Like, one of the biggest problems I have with the recent issue of Children of the Atom is when Vita introduced the characters, it was all about their alias, like their normal human selves or mutant selves outside of the costume. It's just they were still using their mutant names in the graphic page.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I get that. Vita's such an amazing talent. Right. I'm very pumped for their work on Static Shock coming up on Static.
Oh, 100%. That's something that is newer to me. I've never gotten into Static Shock. So this Milestone
Make sure
Returns.
You pick up the Milestone Returns this week. Right. Comes out tomorrow. It's really good. It's really good.
Right. I'm definitely, that's on my poll already. And I've heard it was good.
Yeah, it's good, and it's a good jumping on point. It
reintroduces everything that old Static fans remember.
Yeah,
that's what I've gathered.
And not just Static, but like Hardware and Icon and Rocket, but it puts it in a different, and it updates it, you know, and it puts it in a different setting, and it works. It's working really well. I don't even remember what I'm talking about, bro. I don't know. I got so distracted, but Vita's I like their work. Oh, Children of the Atom. I think that book got rewritten because
it already had scripting issues.
Well, the book came out, and when it got announced, it is so on the nose of trying to be hip and cool with today's kids, right? That it made a lot of people made fun of that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I think that part of that delay was to restructure it as just a miniseries and fix it. And also, here's the thing. The book is a little unclear on this, but I'm getting the vibe that they're either mutants that lost their powers, or they're not mutants at all. They want to be mutants, right? Which I think would be interesting. I think it would be an interesting exploration on kids that would be like into the idea of being a mutant, and they want to be so much. They're faking their powers. You know, we get that in the last issue for sure. They are faking their powers. And the reason, like, why? Like, it's still unclear to me. Either they're like, they lost their powers on M Day, right? Or they just don't have them to begin with. And that's interesting. You know, Grant explored that idea in Germ-Free Generation with John Sublime. They're like the third kind or whatever. The third kind. But it's an interesting book. But I like the first two issues actually were pretty solid. But the last one was just a little laggy for me.
Lackluster. And I think the fact that I get so confused as who is who in that book and where they're trying to fit in. it's really overshadowing what Vita is trying to accomplish. And I have 100% faith in Vita as a writer. I honestly think that they are a talent that is underappreciated in this medium. So I want this book to hit. It's just not hitting, but I know it will at one point. That's really where I'm at with that. Yeah, and a quick little break. If you guys are watching this stream live, thank you so much for being here. We got 20 people in the chat. If you guys are catching the replay, thank you so much as well. Make sure you guys like, subscribe to ComixKings. Also, you guys are all subscribed to Robbie, so I don't have to tell you that, but in case you aren't, subscribe to Robbie. And is that a Vita signature?
It is.
That's awesome.
Them and Liana signed my Deadbeats Volume 1. So
there you go. And they and I talk on Instagram frequently. So that's also pretty cool.
They also wear the coolest shirts you have ever seen.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not even kidding you.
Vita's like t-shirt wardrobe is fantastic. I'm like, if I wasn't spending so much money on comics, I would like lock up on my shirts. Like I probably restock on shirts once every 3 years. I don't grow. I'm short. I'm sorry.
By the way, everybody, Deadbeats Volume 2 is going to be hitting Kickstarter at some point in June. You'll watch out because it's edited by Joe Corallo and Eric Palicki.
There you go. What's up, Rod? Rod the Rockin here. How are you doing, sir?
Station,
Rod. And then that leads us to, we haven't even talked about Batman, man. How are you feeling about the Tinian run?
It's Tynan, first of all.
Tynan.
Young man. Second of all, I just want to say this. Rod, just a Rican, right? Okay. This dude in that group chat we're all a part of, I pay attention. I may not, be involved as much because it's insane to see that many messages all at once.
Right.
But this dude, I just want to go down and eat some food that he made because bruh, that food looks fucking balling. Okay.
Right.
It looks screaming. It looks screaming, bruh. I want some. I'm liking Batman. I'm liking Batman. Overall, I'm liking the direction of DC. I think DC feels more connected, more cohesive, more building to a point than Marvel does right now. And it's an unfair comparison, but that we always compare Marvel to DC, right?
I don't know. I wouldn't go as far to say they're more so of that. I think that Tynion is definitely talking to a lot of his other co-writers, like we mentioned earlier with Tom Taylor. His Joker book and his Batman kind of go hand in hand. I like that payoff. I don't necessarily feel that way about the rest of the DC universe. I feel I genuinely don't think that they talk to each other. And I'm very much convinced that with Tim Sheridan writing Teen Titans Academy, I'm 100% convinced that book will be canceled in about a year and a half.
That book ain't going to be canceled because it's hot and it's making waves because of the character of Red X. Here's the thing.
Because of Red X, but it's not a good book.
Here's the thing. They are talking. You know why they're talking? Because DC fired like 80% of their editorial staff last year, right? There are less editors, and that is helping actually the cohesiveness. Suicide Squad and Teen Titans Academy, the way that they're working together, the way Suicide Squad is working with Batman, with the Batman group. The Batman group's doing their own thing, obviously, and you can credit Tynion for that, obviously, but you can also credit the editors. And I don't remember right now who the group editor is because, like I just said, they fired like 80% of their editorial staff.
I don't remember who their executives are at this point. I know one of them is a female. But now
every one of them, though, feels like they know what they're doing. The Wonder Woman books feel like they know where they're going. The Batman books feel like they know where they're going. The Superman books feel like they know where they're going. And Future State was a part of that, like letting us know, like, here's where it could go. Now,
but it may not.
But it may not because it's hyper time. And I love that they've reintroduced the Grant Morrison, Mark Waid concept of hyper time, where there are infinite realities. There's not just 52 anymore. It is literally infinite.
Infinite. That was from Death Metal. That was like the whole conclusion of Death
Metal. As well as multiple versions of the past and multiple versions of the future. The only thing that is cohesive is now. That gets my Teen Dogs nerd going. It gets me thinking about quantum nature and all that stuff. And it's great. And I love it. And I love the possibilities that opens up because you can do these worlds. It brings us back to the pre-crisis days. And now I'm a DC post-crisis guy. Like when I first started reading DC, it was Superman. And actually it was pre-crisis Superman stuff. But then it would that was all DC Comics Presents. But then Superman by John Byrne, like that was it. So I have always been a post-crisis guy, but I've always loved the concept of a multiverse. whether in real life or in my fiction life. But let's be honest. If there are infinite realities out there, Brandon, the DC universe exists, and the books that we are reading really happen in another part of existence, bruh.
Oh my gosh.
And here's an interesting idea. If observation makes things reality, maybe us reading a comic book creates new realities. What? Maybe imagination is us connecting to other realities. What if that's the case? What if certain people,
Robbie,
your Grant Morrisons, your Jack
crazy.
Kirby's,
You're crazy.
What if they can connect to this idea space in ways that other people can't? And maybe that's why they understand these things. Anyway, Batman's good.
You just completely canceled out everything that Schrodinger's cat stood for.
Let me tell you.
If you watch The Big Bang Theory, Sheldon Cooper would have your ass in 2 seconds.
What's a Big Bang Theory?
I don't know. What is a Big Bang Theory?
Exactly. Anyway,
Ask Fable.
Batman's good. Joker's better, but Batman's really good, and that's really elevated by Jorge Jimenez's artwork and Tomo Mori's coloring, and also 100%. Detective Comics. Dan Mora, bruh.
But Victor Bogdanovich is in the June solicitation, so I'm not butthurt that Dan Mora's off the book because I love Victor Bogdanovich.
He'll be back.
He'll be back. I'm just like.
Here's something too.
I like Victor. He's great.
Dan's doing 2 books at the same time. Ooh, and not losing quality. Isn't that crazy?
Right.
In today's world.
My biggest thing about DC, I'm enjoying it for the time. I think their individual stories are fantastic. Swamp Thing, Nightwing. I can even say Batman can be individual. Detective is kind of doing their own thing as well. I'm very much on the fence for when Joshua Williamson comes in with that Infinite Frontier continuity thing, because that's what DC doesn't necessarily haven't addressed. If they haven't addressed what's going on with Quintessence, what Barry's supposed to be doing in the Speed Force, because we haven't gotten there yet. I think we're going to get there within the next 2 or 3 issues. Yeah. But I don't want to wait for that book to get good, mostly because we just had a fantastic Flash run, and I want to see Wally get some attention. I don't think that
3 issues in the new Flash run, and 2 out of 3 of them are good. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, said Meatloaf.
For me, I think the last one was decent. I'm not enjoying. I don't know. I'm not a big.
You ever read a JSA book?
I have read a JSA book. What's a JSA?
I don't know. What's a ComixKings? You tell me.
A ComixKings.
What did you get me into tonight? I'm sorry. They just signed me up for this shit. I thought I was supposed to be here to plug the cover.
You know what? It was Manny. It's all Manny's fault. He's what I said, dude. Invite Rockin Robbie on here, dude. He'd be happy to sit down.
How long is this show supposed to be, Brandon? How long is this show supposed to be?
I don't know. It's Crisis on Infinite Rants. There are multiple multiverses. There are multiple conversations, multiple time limits.
Dude, there's a reality where we're still talking, and we started talking like 3 months ago.
Exactly, man. Like we knew each other our whole lives, but I think once their continuity kicks in, and they're like, you know what, we actually give a shit about our continuity now, right?
Bro, they do. What are you talking about?
I don't think they do yet.
It's been so connected since Infinite Frontier. What are you fucking talking about? Are you serious? Are you serious?
I am dead serious.
Bro, you're out of your goddamn mind. Okay, first of all, artistically, they got a great vision right now. They got the best artists, and then, like writing-wise, as far as what they're building up to, they know they're building up. Who's the best artist where? At DC right now?
Who's the best artist, Rob? Zermanico is doing that miniseries. I don't think you mean Zermanico is the best artist in DC.
Zermanico's amazing.
He's amazing, but he's not the best.
He's not the best. I didn't say that. I said they have the best artists. You're going to tell me that you pick up, I just go blindfold yourself, pick up 5 random Marvel books this week, pick up 5 random DC books. Tell me what art is better. I'm serious. DC's got a better vision. I'll tell you who's got better quality paper stock, who's got a better vision as a company. And the story is building up to a place. We already heard the rumors. There's a crisis on the horizon. And I know people roll their eyes to that, but not us true DC heads.
Well, Darkseid's come back. Oh, they're the best artist. Look who drew that pinup of Darkseid. That was awful.
It was John fucking Romita.
That was awful.
Bro, get the fuck. I'm leaving. Yep. I'm out. No, I'm just kidding. I got to use the bathroom. Dude, you're pissed. That's pissing me off, though, because let me tell you something. John Romita Jr. is one of the goddamn best storytellers in comics and has been forever.
What?
He is, bruh. Oh, my God.
So you mean to tell me that his Superman was anything?
No, his Superman was rushed and ridiculous, okay? His Action Comics run was ridiculous, okay? His Superman year 1 was amazing, though. The book's not good, but his artwork in that book was amazing,
His art was fine.
His art was brilliant. What are you
There's
talking?
nothing like his Spider-Man
You're right. His best work is Spider-Man.
and Daredevil.
Okay.
I would say his top 2 were Spider-Man and Daredevil.
Daredevil. Yeah, his Daredevil's pretty solid. Spider-Man's really, really good. I love his Thor run too. I never liked his Superman stuff, whether it was during the Jeff Johns run. Didn't he do some of the Gene Luen Yang stuff? Yeah, so Ramita's one of those up and down guys, but like it's just Ramita's that dark side of Ramita, like, bro, that's so Kirby. That's so Kirby.
We're really gonna bring that up again.
I gotta go pee.
All right.
I hit the wrong button.
Okay.
I don't even know how to use this new laptop. What's going on? What?
Is that the show? Or...
No, that's not the show.
Okay. Boom. I guess
be right back, man.
Robbie's on intermission. Robbie's going in timeout for not understanding JR's lost career. Yeah, there you go. Robbie is on timeout. I don't even know what that icon is.
I can still hear you, young man. You watch what you say.
Go pee. All right, what's going on, chat? How are you guys doing tonight? Don't anybody go anywhere. DC's a great plan going forward. No, they don't. Well, I don't think they do. They could, but I don't think they necessarily do. I'm not buying it yet, guys. I'm telling you, I'm not buying it. I want to buy it. I'm just not, because I've been so disappointed by DC in the New 52 and in Rebirth. I'm sorry. I was disappointed, and I have every right to be disappointed. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, of course. Thank you so much. We are not going anywhere yet. Robbie will be back. See, the old man has to pee and one too many beverages tonight. I hope everybody's having a good night. Thank you all for being here one more time. I do have some stuff that I do want to plug, but I'll wait for Robbie to come back as well. Thank you so much, Tank. I appreciate it. And you guys all know that it's all in fun. We all have our own tastes. We all have our own experiences with comics. That's what make comics so great, is they're for everybody, right? And they're different niches that allow us to enjoy certain things, allow us to not. But thank you so much. Yeah, and we all have strong opinions about what we like, right? It's all love. It's all respect. We all have stuff about what we like. And that's why I think comics are for everybody. Because when something is not for you, it could be for somebody else. Now, we may joke around, right? It's like liking a football team, you know? Some football teams you like, some football teams you don't. Some artists you like, some artists you think are like Cam Newton right now, and John Romita Jr. is like Cam Newton. Can't hold a starting position. I'm sorry.
Oh, he's got the starting position, bro. The problem is...
That doesn't mean the team's going to go anywhere.
What? He just went back to Marvel. Don't worry about it. I'm sure, like, he was
and
like,
that Magneto page is horrible.
It's not... It's just a... I mean, you're right. You're right, man. I'm just saying, like, I bet he was like, I'm about to leave. Let me get a dark side page.
Yeah. Boom. And he just left. Some Pittsburgh sandwich. No, you've never had a Pittsburgh sandwich. Go get yourself a Permani sandwich, guys. And I'm telling you, your dreams will be fulfilled. You're going to take the biggest shit of your life, but your dreams will be fulfilled. And your toilet bowls. So, Robbie, have you ever been to Pittsburgh?
No, but I want to, because that's the home of George Romero.
And Ron Friends is from Pittsburgh as well. So he's also important.
Nice. I like the Pirates. I think Three Rivers Stadium's one of the most beautiful baseball parks in existence. I'd love to go visit it.
Three Rivers Stadium is no longer a thing.
Three Rivers Stadium. What's it? PNC Park? What the fuck's it called?
Park. PNC
okay,
Park.
That's what I mean.
Sorry. And that team is barely over 500. The threat of relocating to Miami, similar to what happened in the movie Major League, really hit them hard.
Yeah, they've never recovered from losing Bonds. Yeah. Let's be honest. So
losing McCutcheon, I'd say. Sorry with losing McCutcheon.
He wound up at the Yankees, but he didn't do too much for us.
You mean to tell me Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball? It's a quote from them. But anyway, back to comics. That was a nice little intermission. Once again, you guys, thank you so much for being here. What other books have we not talked about? We have not talked about Justice League yet.
I got a whole list here of stuff you're not even mentioning.
All right, then go ahead. Mention some books that we're not even talking about.
But you asked me one time. You asked me one time tonight what my favorite books are, and I got to say Ice Cream Man. I haven't gotten to talk about any of these other books.
Go ahead. You have the floor, sir.
You know what one of the best comic books on shelves right now is?
Hit me with it.
The Picture of Everything Else. Have you read that one?
I have not read it.
All right. It's a Vault comic by Dan Waters, Kishore Mohan, and Aditya Bidikar.
And you just did an interview with Dan Waters.
I did. It's super cool, dude. Part of the White Noise crew. If for those not in the know, White Noise is Rom V, Dan Waters, Alex Pagnadell, and Ryan O'Sullivan. There you go. Absolutely some of the best writers out there. So Dan's doing this book. The artwork is amazing. The artist Mohan does the line work and the coloring. It's got this watercolor nature. It's beautiful. Aditya Bidikar is the best letterer in the comic book industry right now. He's what Todd Klein was in the 80s and 90s, stretching that technique forward. The Picture of Everything Else is about the picture of Dorian Gray. Okay, you know the book, right? The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Right. So this dude draws this picture of this dude, and he doesn't age, and everything bad that happens to him happens to the painting, and not him. Blah blah blah. Well, Dan Waters, when we had him on the show, was like, well, to me, the most interesting part of the book that they don't really delve into is who the hell is this dude who can do this? So this is the story of the guy who painted the picture of Dorian Gray. And now he's in Paris years later, and he's trying something new. And he's learned that he can now affect reality with artwork. Like literally, he can draw something and it happens. He draws the picture of a dude and he catches the painting on fire. And the dude's at a party somewhere, and guess what happens? He just bursts into flames. He draws a picture of a dude and he rips it in half. And then this dude's just chilling somewhere and he just gets ripped in half. Okay? And now he's using his ability and he's painting a landscape of Paris. And he's trying to create the perfect world through his art. And he's got these apprentices that are involved in it. It's an incredibly interesting concept. Dan Waters is amazing with the use of language. The way, for instance, you may open up one of these books, Picture of Everything Else, look through it, be like, there's a lot of words there. We talked about this with Dan when he was on the show, but the pacing, the way it's broken down by the artwork, the way that Bidikar portrays the accents, even because it's set in Paris, the word balloons feel like you can tell when they're speaking in the more like high society dialect and when they're just speaking regular, like it's so freaking on the nose.
The division of social classes.
Yeah, right. You can see that. Or when people are going in between, right? Because like, and he's doing it like most writers will, or most letterers will do it with like a font change. And he like works with the same font, but he works with just pay attention what he does with the tails. It's amazing. The word balloon tails. The book is expertly crafted on each and every single level. And I really think that right now it is a very strong contender for my favorite book of 2021.
That says a lot to be on the list of Rockin Robbie's great comic books. For me, I already mentioned some of my favorites. You know, if we're talking about indies, I would have to say Nocterra is a great book. Stillwater, which was in the chat a little bit ago, is fantastic. I would say Crossover. It just wrapped up their first arc, but season 2 is coming soon, and I can't wait for that. For me, it's hard for me to get into indies, especially like over the big 2, because I'm still playing catch up. I don't like to sound like I'm a new reader, but it's like my biggest great area is around like the late 90s and 2000s. Well, I've read.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong, by the way, of being a new reader.
Right.
Like, you know, I got a question for you, Brandon.
I got an answer.
I need 3 of your favorite movies of all time.
Empire Strikes Back, Harry Potter, or Half-Blood Prince was fantastic. And I would have to go with Captain America Winter Soldier. Be probably my 3rd. Off the top of my head, boom.
All right. First of all, those are very generic, nerdy movies, but well done, young man. You like what you like. Okay, just let me dwell on that.
I've never really been a big movie guy growing up.
All right, I got one for you. I just got this new one today. You should check this one out. This one's called Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers. I just picked this one up today.
Good movie.
So, is it?
I don't know.
No, it's not good, but it's fun. That's just a weird stretch. All right, you just let me dwell on that for a minute. I'll find you a perfect indie book.
I mean, I like indies. I get into them, It's just I'm also playing catch up in indies, trying to read some more of the classics. Like I'm still reading Invincible, Spawn, East of West. I have sitting right here right now. So I feel like I'm still trying to play catch up in classic indie titles, also with like more of like the 2000s Marvel DC books. Like I just want to dive into Green Arrow by Judd Winnick. start getting into some Connor Hawk. I know kind of what happened. It's just actually having that experience I want to have for myself.
Read the Chuck Dixon stuff for Connor. You can skip some of the Gentleman Ink stuff.
Yeah. I still want to read it because I like Green Arrow, and I want to read that sequentially rather than just like jumping around.
All right, I got a book for you to read.
Yes, sir.
Wasted Space.
I'm gonna pull a Manny right now. So if you guys ever watch Manny in a live stream, he has his notepad.
Wasted Space.
Who writes it?
Michael Morisi. Artwork by Hayden Sherman and Jason Werdy. Lettering by Jim Campbell. It's from Vault Comics. It is it's a really good book. I'd like to see what you think about it.
I will put it onto the list, and I will be contacting my LCS tomorrow, see if they can order for me.
If they don't, let me know, and my shop has it. So,
all right, I'll hit you up. What shop do you own, or do you work at?
I work at the Deep Comics and Games. But just if you can't find it, hit me up. I'll hook you up, bro.
All right, I'll hit you up right after this. Thank you, man. Boom. Have I watched Killer Stuff? See, guys, I'm not really big into movies. I watch movies, just like I don't know. I never really got into really the directing side and the producing side, like the different actors. I don't know. I feel like my brain is so focused on knowing comic book names, and too many names to remember. Getting into film a whole other animal for me. It's yeah, I liked it. Cool, great. But I'm not a theater nerd or not really a movie nerd. That's not really my thing. But I know a lot of people here. It's I just listen, right? I always tie things back to Manny's live streams. He just listens a lot, and that's what I do with movies. I just listen to what other people say.
If you want some good movies to watch, just check out every movie that we do every Friday night on PCP Movie Night. Those are always bangers.
Yeah. I've been catching some of the replays on those. It's Friday nights are when I do my show. So, and speaking of my show, on Wednesday, I'm going to be having Philip Kennedy Johnson, writer of Action Comics and Alien. I have read both issues that are coming out this Wednesday. They are both killers. So make sure you guys pick those up. I'm super excited to sit down with PKJ, and he's already been on the show back during the days of IGTV. So I'm super stoked to have him back on the show. And he lives probably 2 hours from me, so it's great.
You know Philip Kennedy Johnson?
I do. Well, we haven't met in person. We talk pretty frequently, though. He lives in Maryland, so
I'd love to talk to that guy.
He's pretty cool.
He's doing such a great job on Superman right now.
Yeah,
the new issue of Action is amazing. Like you said, it's amazing.
Right, and I think the biggest thing that Philip Kennedy Johnson is really doing well in that book is he's doing a lot of fixing. Right, with Superman and John, right? Superman is supposed to be perfect, right? You're supposed to look at Superman and be like, this is the guy that I really want to be. One way that Superman is not perfect is being a dad. So this is just giving Philip Kennedy Johnson a new avenue of storytelling to really dive into and grow Superman. That's why I'm not bored right now of Superman like I usually am, because it's just a very humanizing thing to Superman. And he's growing, he's learning, and so is John. And he's doing stuff with Mongol, and it's great.
Yeah, Action Comics right now in particular is one of my favorites at DC right now, because Philip Kennedy Johnson understands this, and I've been preaching this for so freaking long, and it's why I was so irritated with the Bendis run. Superman needs to be approached a certain way as far as writing goes and as far as the art goes. Right. And right now, was it Daniel Sampere or something?
Daniel Sampere. And is Phil Hester still in the book or so? No.
He just did those first two issues.
He just did the first two? Okay.
But that Superman is always shown to be a mythological figure as far as perspective goes. He's always big. He's always above us. Even when he's not above us, we can't.
He's still there.
He's not there, but we just can't quite see all of them on our level. Right. It's not mundane. Superman should never be mundane. He's dealing with big things that represent something on a smaller scale. So right now he's dealing with this big stuff. And by the way, Mongol, who is one of the most, here's one of the biggest misconceptions in this comic book community that just pisses the hell out of me. It just pisses me off is that Superman has a shitty rogues gallery, because that's not true. That's not true at all. And Mongol's one of those really great ones. And the problem is, ever since Jeff Johns used them in Sinestro Corps War, everybody else just kind of made a joke out of them, right?
Right.
Dude, in that last issue, not the new one that comes out this week, they do it there too, but that last one, they made Mongol instantaneously badass again.
Right. Have you read the new issue? that's coming out.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love it.
Oh my gosh, it's great.
And you're right. They're picking up on that relationship stuff between Jonathan and Clark that Peter Tomasi was doing so well.
Right.
Until they let Bendis come in.
Until let Bendis say, I'm gonna age him up to put him in Legion in the future. Which I really enjoy. I don't enjoy the fact that he's doing it. What I really wanted to picture was when Damian first saw John age up, just like charging him at him. All John has to do is just like hold his hand out, just watch Damian run into him. That's something that I asked Peter Tomasi, like, is that how you would envision that? He was like, and he started laughing. But PKJ understands these characters, right? And I think that's the best part of Superman is a lot of people just want to put their own influence of him first, of him being that, like you said, like above everybody else. So I'm really appreciating how he's dealing with stuff we haven't seen him deal with before.
What's your favorite Superman book you've ever read?
Ooh, All-Star Superman.
Bruh, I thought I didn't like you, man. I like you, Brandon.
Robbie, bro, everyone likes
Bruh. No, we all love you.
And guys, when we give each other shit, it's all love.
By the way, I just wanted to let everybody know the reason why I'm here tonight is because of Mike the Voice Matthews. Mike told me, because after that first initial night where I met you and you talked shit about Jack Kirby, and don't worry, we're going to get to that.
Oh, I thought the last stream was over. No, I'm kidding.
And then you want it to be over?
No. No, let's keep going.
I'll fucking leave right now, bro.
Nah, bro.
Anyway, so Mike was like, I'm just messing with you. So Mike was like, bruh, the Brandon kid, no offense. That Brandon dude, that Brandon man, he was like, you know what? He reminds me of you when you were in your early 20s. And I was like, fuck off. And then I was like, he's right. I was so fucking certain I knew everything about everything. And so I just had to come here. I'm glad that's your
only reason. Is that your only reason?
No, I'm just messing with you, bro.
I think you like.
I told you that night I'd be on your show.
I know.
Then you came on one of my shows, and you're like, "Oh, he doesn't remember me." I'm like, "Yeah, I remember you."
Yeah, I thought there were so many people in the chat where you weren't looking at the messages. I was like, "Let me just be a little coon in the chat," and you're like, "Oh, I know you." And I'm like, "Oh shit, he knows."
I pay attention to everything, man. You better watch out, bro.
I would highly recommend American Alien 2. I have read it. That was one of the first Superman books I did read. It's just Max Landis isn't necessarily the most proper person to throw out there on the market, but that's why no one recommends it. That's why you never go onto a Superman show or anyone reviewing a Superman comic. You're never going to see American Alien out there just because of Max Landis.
Well, American Alien's good, but it's
great, but
it doesn't necessarily do anything uniquely different by the end of it.
It's not something you would talk about, or like someone who would be listening to a podcast. There's nothing, like, people who've read American Alien, they get it, and that's it. It's not a book that you want to talk about and discuss. There's nothing to discuss in that book. That's really it. And then Max Landis doesn't help. But yeah, we were talking about Superman and then Alien 2. I know Travis was saying that I didn't like it in the chat, which I do like Alien. I just don't like how Salvador LaRocca made himself the main protagonist in every page just to get angles right that he missed. I would have been okay with it if he would have gotten the facial expressions right, but he didn't. So we're dealing with that. And I don't like 32 pages of Salvador LaRocca here to save the day. The storytelling is great. Just not Salvador LaRocca. And you have a horsepower of artists who would love to draw Alien and make it so much better. A bunch of different artists can make that book 10 times better than what it is if it weren't Salvador LaRocca. And
LaRocca's artwork's a bit stale, a bit stagnant sometimes. Well,
also, the coloring highlights. It's the coloring that's also highlighting all of the errors, right? And I don't. And that's
the colors he likes to work with. Remember, he threw that big stink when they got who was it? Raquel, somebody to like. They colored him on an Uncanny X-Men, and he bitched about it publicly, and they got Guru FX back on.
Yeah, it was that. Oh my! It was.
Is it Raquel Rosenberg or something?
I have it probably. whoever was coloring in that
Which
X-Men
I thought she
Revolution
did
omnibus.
I thought she did a great job.
Right.
coloring
And
him,
I have it in an omnibus, but I just can't remember because there are like so many different talents on there.
Sal's one of those dudes that needs a really good colorist to
And-
give his artwork dimension, because
Right.
otherwise it falls very flat.
Right, and I think that's what Alien is doing very much.
His bits with the xenomorphs are fucking
great.
dope, though.
Are great, but I also feel like the parts where it's just him, right, dealing with like the different like conversations, the conversations are so good, right? There's so much depth in there that's interesting, and it's something new to that world. But then the coloring of the facial expressions, you know, and the angles are just not there, and they feel very rushed, which is why I'm saying if you knew you were going to put this book out on a monthly period, you wanted to crank it out, no delays. You have a bunch of artists in Marvel that would love to draw it. That's my biggest point.
Who would you like? Who would you rather see?
No, I would like to see Pat Zurcher on it. I would like to see.
Bruh.
I would like to see Iban Coelho do some stuff on that book. I think Iban Coelho would be a great fit for that book.
Okay.
Joshua Cassera could, if he wasn't doing X-Force, of course. Victor Bogdanovich would be fine. I'm thinking of people. I just had this conversation with somebody the other day of who I would like to see draw it. There was someone else I was thinking of. I just can't think about it right now.
You know, I'd like to see do it.
Who?
Writing and all. Just give him a mini series. Philip Kennedy Johnson. My bad.
Daniel Warren Johnson.
Daniel Warren Johnson. Yeah.
I don't know. I think the Alien would. I don't know.
Could you imagine him just having 5 issues to play with?
I think he would do
Set anywhere in the timeline.
I think he'd do a better Predator. I think he'd do better. I don't know if Alien matches the. I don't know. His line work to me is much better for like a cover with Alien, like that Thor cover that he did with the Xenomorph on it was fantastic. I don't know if I would want every single issue of that.
I got a question, Brandon. Who is, in your opinion, the best Alien comic book artist that's already done it?
Oh, the original guy. Oh, what was his name? Oh, the dude from the Dark Horse. Shit, what was his name? Jones, right?
I didn't read that stuff, so I don't know.
For dude from the Dark Horse.
Okay, like the first one, I guess.
Yeah.
What you're saying? Okay, like my favorite artist ever was Gabriel Hardman, and I just don't necessarily think his writing worked so well because he wrote and illustrated, right? But like, if we could get him back, like that's the kind of vibe I want. Get a Ryan Sook.
Ryan Sook, you know, would be
like come on, right? Like that would be really good.
Right. I think could Capullo do a good scene? I think Capullo could probably pull it off if he really
he'd ever work for Marvel though.
No, I think Finch would have a better shot at doing it before Capullo, but
but then it would be awkward and late.
Right.
People would have too long of necks. It'd be weird.
I think Nick Dragato would be able to do a good job, or Brian Hitch would draw pretty well.
Dragato would be great, but nobody would like it. Like that's
I mean, I would like it.
Yeah, I would like it too, bro. Like, trust me.
I would like it. I don't know. I'm still sticking to Pat Zurcher.
Dude, he'd be amazing. And then he's about to do one of the Conan books, though, right?
Yeah, he's doing Savage Avengers right now.
He's doing Savage Avengers. I'm glad to see him get. Patch is such a great artist,
right?
You know?
That's why he was my first thing. That's why he was the first guy I mentioned. Is because he has he's so gritty, but yet he can draw stuff out in the open and he can capture different moments, right? Alien is not always. Let's put a xenomorph in here and make it great. That's why Aliens 3 sucked. That's why Alien vs. Predator sucked. Too many xenomorphs.
Aliens 3 sucked? There's only one alien, bruh. An Alien 3.
What movie am I thinking of?
I don't know what you're thinking of.
But anyway.
I know a lot of people don't like Alien 3, but I love the hell out of that movie. I'm just going to say.
Alien and Aliens, and I'm done.
Bro, you got to rewatch 3. You got to rewatch 3.
Right. You know what?
Watch it alone. You got to watch it alone. I don't know if you partake of herbal pleasure, but have some herbal pleasure. You know, drink some, smoke some, whatever you need to do to relax. Turn out the lights. Watch Alien 3. Turn off all criticism and just experience it, and let me know what you think. It's a better film than most people realize.
I will. I just watched Aliens last night. So
you should do it then, bro.
I'm just probably gonna do it tonight. But
just don't watch Resurrection.
Yeah.
We don't
My
need
first
that.
mistake was during the first Alien movie. I was having a Big Mac and I was puked it up, but anyway, that's a different story. But back to Pat Zurchers, I think he will be able to draw the xenomorph in waves so well. I'm just thinking of like his shadowing, because that's something he does so differently. Look at his Savage Avengers. Look at the way he colors. I would love to see. I don't know if I'd want to see Matt Wilson do it. That's like the first person that came to mind.
He's probably the best that Marvel has on stock right now, right?
Matt Wilson is fantastic. His covers are. I just think he has the most diverse palette. That's it.
He does it appropriate to the artist.
Right.
You know, if you look at his Nick Klein work and his Russell Donovan work, completely different.
That's why I'm saying Matt Wilson would be fantastic.
Jordy would be a good one. Jordy Belair.
Belair would be fine. Who is? Oh shit! What's his name? I think JP Mayer would be great on the colors for that. JP Mayer would be fine. Takara has a good color palette.
Is he a colorist or is he a letterer? I thought Mayer was a letterer.
He does colors.
I mean, not a letterer, an inker.
An inker. He does colors.
Okay.
He does colors. Okay. Who's the colorist for Deodato? Who's Deodato's colorist? Gotta take him in a heartbeat. You know who I'd also like to see? I'd like to see Jeff Shaw do an Alien book. I'd like to see him do an Alien book. I think he would knock it out of the park.
Good luck pulling him away from crossover.
Yeah, good luck pulling away from Donny Cates. And I would like to see.
I'll tell you what, he'd do one with Donny Cates.
He would. You know, Donny Cates and Alien. I think any artist just be like me.
I would like something more gritty on Alien. Right. You know?
Yeah. And I think they're gonna get to that point. I think right now, Johnson, every writer has their shtick, and Johnson right now is father and son, because he is a father. He does have a son who he's very close with. PKJ is also in the military, so obviously that time with his son is very precious, and that's something he wants to talk about in his stories, which I think is a big push for all of this. Yes, Andrea Sorrento would be perfect colorist.
I'll just bring in Jeff Lemire then to do that, and Andrea can draw it. And we can get Dave Stewart to color it. Let's just do it. Dave Stewart. You know what? I'm very shocked is Silver Surfer Black. One person on that team got nominated for Eyes. Not Tradmore for his amazing art. Not Donny Cates for a great work on Silver Surfer. Dave Stewart for the colors. Now they were great. I'm like, where was the rest of the goddamn team? There's this. I agree with you. Tradmore should have totally been nominated for that, and it should have been nominated for Best Limited Series. I don't remember if it was or not.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, but like Dave Stewart, there's just this pact that's been going on, I think, since 1993 that Dave Stewart has to be nominated like every year and win at least every third year.
Right.
So
yeah,
because Dave Stewart is literally one of the best colorists that has ever existed in this industry.
Right. I'm just like, really? That's who you give it to? I understand he's great, but there's so much other stuff in Silver Surfer Black. And just like Fable said, Fable, head on, bro. He got robbed, you know. Silver Surfer Black, you don't need to read any of the old stuff. You can just hop right into the book. It's so great, and it's such a testament to how well Donny can play with these characters. You know, and I always think Donny Cates is just a guy with a bunch of action figures. You know, and the reason why Noel works so well is because he's from the Transformers set and he's crossing over to Marvel and no one's ever seen it before. If there are characters not in this little set that he's in, it's because he doesn't own them yet, and they're all sitting there on the shelves of Target. You're not going to see it, but Don's like, boom, boom, let's throw this in there, and boom, and Stegman and Coelho's like, yeah, I love it. That's what he's doing crossover too. He's a kid with action figures.
Oh yeah, he gives stories of, and I remember somebody on Twitter asked him this, and he says absolutely, because they were like, dude, your stories sound like the kind of things that me and my friends come up with when we're drinking at the bar. What if this happened to Ghost Rider? What if, what if Frank Castle became the Spirit of Vengeance? What if Juggernaut, the power of Juggernaut went to Howard the Duck? And then he goes, yeah, that's exactly where my ideas come from.
And I'm not surprised. That's why they work. It's because we're all like, oh my gosh, that's cool. But I'm super excited for what Donny Cates has to offer next. For everyone who's saying he's going to be on Spider-Man, I think you're 100% wrong. I think they're going to give Spider-Man a newer voice. And I don't think as much as Donny would like to write Spider-Man, I don't think that you would, if Donny did write Spider-Man, it wouldn't come with the same perks like Stegman and Coelho that you would think. I think they would give him more of a low-key artist, but I think
Donnie's
that
going on.
he's going on an indie run.
He's going on Hulk.
Hulk. You think he's going to do another?
If they put Donnie post Venom on a Marvel main book, it's Hulk because it's the one that's about to wrap up. They're going to let Spencer fuck with this for like 40 more issues. Don't worry.
I don't want that to happen. I think they could throw him onto Captain America. I think that'd be cool for him to do. I would like to see what
I don't think Donnie's a Cap writer. Donnie's not a Cap writer. I don't think so.
He could be. I mean, he could be. You know, he's definitely played with a lot of things. I like the moments he had.
Donnie's too rock and roll. Cap's not rock and roll enough. Cap's a little golden oldies.
I don't know if he would have the same voice on Immortal Hulk to make it rock and roll. You're just coming off a very seminal work in Immortal Hulk that's wrapping up in 3 issues. But I don't know if the community or the comic industry is ready for another Hulk run, especially because it's getting like spinned off into Gamma Flight and all these different other stuff that Al Ewing is embarking on. I don't think that we're ready for that. I think he might do not Avengers. It's tough. Where you would put Donnie right now. I would like to see him go back to Doctor Strange, if anything. I would love to see that. I would love another Doctor Strange.
He does have a new movie coming out, so.
And you're seeing more Doctor Strange in comics for that reason. I think that by July, you're gonna see an announcement for a Doctor Strange. I hope not an ongoing. I hope they do it a mini. Doctor Strange ongoing seemed to fall flat, and as much as I love Mark Waid, his Doctor Strange fell flat in all cylinders. And Mark Waid is probably one of my favorite writers in comics. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready. I know Hidden Gem is right here. He's ready for another Hulk run. But I don't know. I'd like to see Donnie stick to more indie stuff. I think that's where he's finding a good home as well. Yeah,
but he makes money with Marvel, so they're going to use him for something.
They will. And I'm trying to. Here's the thing. There's so many titles that I would like to see him on, but they just don't have because they're so stocked up, you know? And if Donnie's going to do anything next, it doesn't have to be as great as Null and all that, but it has to still heighten a character. So I'm just saying, what character needs a Donnie treatment? That's what I'm having trouble processing.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, right? I would like to see him maybe do another shot at the Ewans, bringing them back. Maybe that's just me being a Black Bolt fanboy. I'd like to see him do something with Sentry because that would be cool. I think that would sell. But
I know he's a big Blade fan, but like Fable mentioned that, him on Blade. Blade's too small fry, and it's not time for Blade yet. It's not time.
Give him a few years.
They're building Blade up right now with Jason Aaron. It's not going to be Donnie. I feel like it's Hulk. It's the one that's open the soonest. That you're right. Cap is open too, and it's crazy. We haven't really got an announcement for a new Cap team. And
we just got one for Black Panther.
We did just get one for Black Panther. So
I don't know how I feel about it. I love On Cabal, but I'm not the biggest John Ridley fan out there, especially because this is his first ongoing and the stuff he's written has missed. For me, they've missed. But it's a decent pitch. It's a decent pitch. I'm just on the fence.
I like some of his, I guess, next Batman stuff, but like aside from that, like he's just, to me, he's a Hollywood screenwriter, right?
Right.
He's Academy Award winner. And I'm just worried because he's writing the new Black Panther movie. Like, is this book going to be on time? Because one of the problems with Ta-Nehisi Coates on the book was they didn't come out on time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
I think the other part of his run is it lost story, right? Like his first time at work with Stelfreeze was just segued into sending him to space. And Black Panther to me is a character that doesn't belong in space. I think you lose what he stands for when you embark on a space journey with Black Panther. That's when I really fell off the book, is when they just shot him in space. Like, I'm out.
Black Panther's a hard book to nail. A lot of talented creators have tried. And to me, the best Black Panther run ever is Christopher Priest. 100%. Like Priest's run is so magnificent. And remember, Do you know who set up Christopher Priest on Black Panther?
You're gonna say Kevin Smith. I feel
No,
like
Joe Quesada.
Joe Quesada.
Joe Quesada. So there you go.
You're just coming full circle on there.
Yeah,
me.
man.
You're just coming full circle. I like it. There's another book I wanted to talk about, but I don't remember it. We were talking Alien. We were talking about Searcher. We were talking PKJ. So yeah, if you guys are free Wednesday night at 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. Eastern time, hop on. It's gonna be a fun show. And make sure you read The Last God. That book was fantastic as well. The hardcover is coming out soon. It's on the June solicits. And make sure you guys do go ahead and check out the solicitations because there's a lot of cool stuff coming out. So kind of just planning ahead. That's what I like to do about a week. But that's how I like to budget my month. Is right before it starts. I just look at everything coming out. I don't know. What other books are there to talk about, Robbie, that we haven't touched on yet?
Well, one of the best books on shelves, which is not on shelves again until August, when the final issue comes out, is Decorum.
Yes. I am behind. I need to reread it. So when I was reading it, I was also in the middle of a move. So I had a buddy pick up my pull and he didn't send it over like for a while. I was like, I'm just going to read it when it comes out. But Decorum's great. I love how the art is so museum-like. It's if I walked into an art museum, that art would be hanging on there every single panel.
Yeah.
But it's just getting simple and simple and simple. That's the story.
It's a simple story.
Right.
You know, I hear so many people tell me, like, they come up to my shop and they're like, I just don't get Decorum. And it's become a little bit of a bit at PCP, but it's true. It's a simple story. It's about an assassin's guild.
Right.
And the best assassin in this guild, who is a woman with impeccable decorum, is training the new one, the newbie, right? And there's this crazy world building, but basically it's just this whole thing where everybody's after this egg, right?
Assassins with no manners. That's it.
It's so freaking amazing. And what makes it amazing is that it is a deceptively complex book when it's a very simple story. And it's easy to get into once you get into it, but you have to trust Hickman. You have to trust that he will deliver.
That's what we were talking about earlier.
We totally got that in the last issue. And he was able to craft an 8 issue story. We still have the last issue to come out, and it ain't coming out till August. But what Mike Huddleston does, his decision to do a completely different style of art for each scene that is so also appropriate to that scene and also innovative, meaning that it's not usually something we see on the comic book page.
Right.
And you see that like 5 different versions of that in each issue. That's pushing this medium forward. That's making comics matter as far as an art form. And those are the books that elevate us.
Right. And that's the thing that Hickman has always done and always excelled at is not only what I can do to this universe, what can I do for the industry to really heighten it to new degrees? That's something that, again, that you just said in Decorum that's so underappreciated. You know, those graphic design pages from East of West, they're so useful. And it's not a very common thing we see in comics. That's what I really appreciate about Hickman. He's bringing in a new way of storytelling. Yeah. Very Steranko-like.
It's influenced by Steranko. It's influenced by Grant Morrison. It's influenced by Neil Gaiman. It's influenced by Alan Moore. It's influenced by Warren Ellis. It's influenced by Mark Millar. It's got all these influences, but something so uniquely his.
Hickman, yeah.
Yes.
Yep. It's just
love
Hickman.
him or hate him. It's Hickman book.
It's Hickman, right? And I think in comics, you just look at something you're like, it's Hickman. And 10 years, 25 years to 50 years from now, you're going to look at something, you say it's Hickman. It's going to have that distinct feeling
Brandon,
to it.
One day when you're hitting 40, when you've hit 40, one day that's going to happen. And you're going to look back, if you're still in this industry, and I hope you are, because your passion is enthusiastically represented. And I love it, bro. I love it. Keep at it, okay?
That's the nice thing you've ever said.
To you. But at a certain point, you're going to be like, how many of these stories have I read? You realize how much of it's just the same repeated fucking story over and over. The same house style over and over and over. But 20 years later, 30 years later, We're not talking about Ed Brubaker's Superman run. Not Ed Brubaker, Steven Seagal's. We're not talking about Steven Seagal's Superman run. Do you know what I'm talking about? We're talking about All-Star Superman. Why?
Right.
Why? Because it did something different and unique and so quintessentially of the essence of that character.
Why are we still talking about Claremont's X-Men? Because it brought something new to the industry.
Yeah. Hickman is that dude,
one of those,
who is writing books right now. They're evergreen. That means that it's like a Dark Knight Returns. It's like a Watchmen. By the way, DC's always been better at evergreen properties than Marvel, right? Let's just be honest. Marvel's got some good ones, Infinity Gauntlet.
But DC has very seminal works for characters.
And that's why they're doing the anthologies. That's why they do the miniseries. Those are the ones they get the most life out of. You know what I'm saying? Look at Dark Knight Returns compared in Arkham Asylum. Those graphic novels sell every single year. They're bestsellers. Right. And Hickman is one of those dudes who can make books like that if we just give him the chance.
100%. 100%. And I have a different way of saying this to people who watch ComixKings, which everyone in here should. I always say there's a difference between character studies, character writers, and then visionaries. I always say Al Ewing is a visionary. Jonathan Hickman is a visionary. Scott Snyder, Jeff Johns, like him or not, they're visionaries that you will be able to look at 25 years from now and say they did great. You look at someone like Chip Zdarsky, say they did great for this character, but they didn't do anything for this universe, right? They didn't expand. They didn't expand the borders of comics. They expanded the borders of this character. That's not a knock on Zdarsky, but it's just a different style of storytelling and a different kind of method of doing things, which is where you separate. Not every writer is meant to be a Hickman or a Al Ewing or a Chris Claremont or a Frank Miller or a Walt Simonson.
If you want to know, by the way, some inside information from Rockin Robbie Bills, from Pop Culture Philosophers, about who is the next wave of talent that's going to change everything up. Because we had that wave with Lee and Kirby and all that shit, right? Back in the day, Then we had all these different ways. But for instance, in more recent years, going back to the 80s and 90s, we had Grant Morrison, Alan Moore, Neil Gaiman, Warren Ellis, Garth Ennis, Brian Michael Bendis, coming up a little bit later. Then that led into the Matt Fractions, that led into the David Lathams, that led into all these other people, that led into the Mark Millars, that led into this, that led into the Ed Brubakers, you know what I'm saying? And the 100%. Jason Aaron's, the Jonathan Hickmans, the new wave right now, the dudes that you got to pay attention to right now. Ryan O'Sullivan, Dark Interlude right now, sequel to Fearscape, read Fearscape. Alex Packnadell, who did Friendo, who is right now doing Giga at Vault, and more importantly, in shops right now is his Immortal Hulk Time of Monsters one shot,
which is fantastic,
freaking awesome, dude. You got these people cannibalizing Hulk. Then when he comes back to life, they're literally the chunks of them are jumping out of their stomachs and ripping them apart.
Dude, that was epic.
Right? Dan Waters. Picture of Everything Else, Deep Roots, Homesick Pilots is another current book.
My favorite of his work was Coffin Bound. Coffin Bound was my favorite.
Bruh, when we talked to him, I was like, are we getting a Coffin Bound 3? He's like, we want to. But Danny would draw it in a heartbeat. I'm sure if he called the right, he said that him and Danny are working on something new. So that's cool. But they said that Coffin Bound 3, they know what it will be. But when they do it, they want to push the medium even further. That's why I love these guys. And the other one is Rom V. It's the White Noise crew. Rom V, Dan Waters, Ryan O'Sullivan, Alex Packnadell. Right now, that's your
I would even Mount say Rushmore. Right now in Marvel, you can have Cantwell in there. Jed McKay, I think, is going to be a big influence in Marvel as well. Who else? Yeah, I think Cantwell and Jed McKay are definitely going to lead that industry. Cantwell is doing great things in Iron Man, and I think Kelly Thompson has really not even reached her full potential yet as a writer.
Her Black Widow's amazing.
And Captain Marvel is, in my opinion, better than Kelly Sue DeConnick's, and I'm going to go that far to say it, and I love Kelly Sue DeConnick.
I will say that, but I will also say that, her best Marvel work for me is Kate Bishop's Hawkeye book that she did.
Yeah.
That book 100%. Is fucking, with Leonardo Romero and Jordi Belair. Oh, my God.
Yep.
But her best work that Kelly's ever done is her brilliant We need an animated series. Her brilliant reimagining of Jim and the Holograms, bruh. If you've never read Kelly Thompson's Jim and the Holograms run, trust me, it is one of the best licensed comics of the last 20 years.
100%. And I think Leah Williams is also a fantastic writer. Because, like I said, she understands her characters. Like what she's doing in the X Factor. Polaris is one of my favorite mutants, if not my favorite. I'm a complete simp for Polaris. I don't care what you guys say. I'm a big Polaris fan. I dig her. I do. But what she's doing with some of the other characters that we don't necessarily see or not, let alone have any information on. Like we have information, but nothing like this is their info. This is their big diary. She's really expanding on that. Boom. And Big Herm, right? Kelly Thompson. She's amazing, bro. So I think Leah Williams is fantastic. She understands every character she works on. And I think if you are going to be a visionary, step one is understanding what you're working with and taking it to a new level. If you can make these niche characters interesting, boom. Hickman starting out on New Warriors. Characters people didn't necessarily...
Secret Warriors, right?
Secret Warriors, yes.
Yeah,
characters
very
people didn't
Steranko
necessarily
influenced, by the way,
right.
young man. You talked a little bit of shit about Steranko back in
No, I
like
didn't.
a little bit of, yeah, you did. You said he was
I love
overly
Steranko.
verbose. You said he was overly verbose.
Yeah, because that was I didn't say that was a bad thing though. I said for Smith it was a bad thing, not for Steranko.
I love how you change what you say.
No, I didn't. I've been giving Steranko compliments this entire stream, except for the.
I mean, he may have some wild ideas about
women.
Politics and life, but like, come on, man.
Motherfucker wouldn't take
he
a
knows
picture with me because I didn't.
He was the guy after Kirby to evolve. Like I love John Buscema, okay, but
Steranko's
like it was the
though.
Sterankos, it was the Kirbys, it was the Eisners,
the Gil
Those
Kanes.
are the guys that the Gil Kanes, and more than Gil Kane, the Infantinos. They're the ones that moved the medium forward by leaps.
And when I was talking to Will Spartasio, that's really his big thing was these talents who can expand comics. Comics, you can make anything happen. It's just pushing that dimension, pushing those boundaries. That's
Frank
something
Miller
that
was one of them.
Right. That's something that I really enjoyed with what I talked about with Will. So if you guys have not checked that replay, make sure you do it. It was a great time.
I love his Iron Man run. I wish I was there. I would have been like, bro, your Iron Man run was severely underrated.
Robbie, there's a replay, bro. I'm kidding.
Well, I have to be subbed up first, right?
You're subbed up. You're subbed up. I know.
Did you sub me up to this?
Hey,
Did he say making fuck?
Hey, you're talking like Travis is in the back room.
It's Manny. I got a FaceTime going on with Manny over there, and I'm talking to him.
Oh, okay.
Did you sign me up for this shit?
You know, and you have poor Fable in the chat right now. So butthurt you didn't call him.
I didn't call Fable?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Why would I not call Fable?
Yeah, because you're calling Manny.
Oh, I'm just joking. Here's my phone, bro. There's nothing going on. Manny's not there. I'm talking to a fucking wall right now. It's just a bit. It's what I do.
Is that how you practice for your shows?
Fuck. What did he say?
What the fuck?
I'm talking to actually a Super Skrull pop over there. Yeah. And created by Jack Kirby, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a bug I want to ask you about. What did you think of Life Story? Fantastic Four. I didn't like it.
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was great. It wasn't as good as the first issue of, say, Chip Zdarsky's Spider-Man Life Story, but I liked it. I like what Mark Russell does, where Mark Russell's one of these guys. Everybody's like, I just don't like politics in my comics. Okay, I get that, right? If it's a form of escapism for you, that's fine. I get that. Mark Russell is someone who can put contemporary thematic relevance through his perspective in a book, but still make it feel fun. You know what I'm saying? He's got this nice sense of humor about him. But what I liked about it was, you asked me, Brandon, let me talk. So I'm sorry, I've had a couple beers. I'm just being shitty. Okay. There's a lot to unpack in just the 60s of Fantastic Four. That's right. Fantastic Four is my favorite thing ever, pretty much in comics. So there's a lot to unpack. But the way that they tied in the story through this monster, Fantastic Four issue 50, I love that. That's one of the best issues that Lee and Kirby did, right? So I really like how they tied that all in together. I liked the book. I thought the art was okay. It wasn't super solid. I wish that Paul Ryan was still alive. He would have been perfect for this. Kind of like the way they brought Bagley into Spider-Man life story.
Right.
You have that like kind of classic feel. So I liked it. The only problem that I didn't like about the issue really was that they went through a lot really quickly.
Yes, the pacing was off.
But that's just part of the nature of trying to encapsulate the entire decade into one book.
Right.
But you didn't give me any setup. You gave me amazing setup for Galactus, okay? But you didn't give me any setup for Victor or Namor.
Right.
And I wanted a little bit more of that.
Right.
Yeah.
And to your point,
Victor's got to be a factor from the beginning.
And he wasn't. I think they spent so much on how they got their powers, right? I would have liked two things when they were going through that like celebration ceremony. You could have included all the characters that came in that sequence right there, kind of speeding through the years, right? I would have liked some moment, right? That's very essential, right? You know, and Mole Man doesn't get a lot of love. I would have also liked if they told the tale through the eyes of the Watcher, because he did first appear in Fantastic Four, and he's like walking us through this adventure. You can still add in your Galactus, you can still do all this stuff. I give Mark Russell an A for effort because he did his research. He definitely put a lot of thought into it, both him and Izakaze. But I think it fell. You know, I think it fell very flat because they missed more than they hit. A lot of stuff happened in the 60s, which makes it difficult. Their prime were the 60s.
Well,
right?
It's hard to do that, right? So, like, the only way to really make it even out and work would be if they gave 12 issues to each decade, but they're not going to do that.
Right. But I think like it's all about prioritizing, and I think you could have saved some of the Galactus stuff, like at least half the Galactus stuff. You could have achieved that same point. But you could have put that into the 70s where Galactus really shined as well. Galactus is always going to be there, right?
Yeah. Well, you can push off Galactus, and that's okay. The Victor thing bothers me because
the Victor thing bothered me 100%.
Here's the thing. So they introduced the guy from This Man, This Monster, and if anybody's never read that issue, it's great. It's like this dude like takes the place of the Thing, and he wants to kill Reed Richards because of jealousy, and then he realizes that Reed's a good dude, and he sacrifices his life to save Reed. Right. So I like how they built that up. But here's the thing. That may be the best issue of the Fantastic Four in the 60s. And I think that Mark says, to me, that's my favorite. That's the best to me.
Right. And
so
he's a big
going
Galactus
to base
fan.
I'm going to base everything around This Man, This Monster. Okay. The problem is in the overall story of the Fantastic Four, that is a rather very insignificant moment.
Right.
Okay. Like as far as the entire story goes,
right?
They really did some good development, I think, with Reed. They really did Reed really well,
right? And I think they did Ben well. They did Johnny Ben well.
I think Ben was the weakest one, though. I didn't quite feel the Ben thing, but I'll tell you this: it's a good pitch for the start of the idea of a movie. I'll just tell you that.
Right, and I think and I know a lot of people are so quick to compare it to Zdarsky's life story. And I think that Zdarsky's he's a much better writer than Mark Russell. Mark Bagg is a much better writer than Izakaze. My standards for Fantastic Four is there's so much to play with, and I don't think that this was the one thing that I would have liked them to do. I guess if I'm phrasing it right, like I said, I give them an A for effort. I'm like, you have it there. It's just, you could have put a little bit more tidbits in there, like we were talking about space earlier, and I think Izakaze could have really mastered some more of his space and put it. There are just some opportunities like, oh, you could have done this, you could have done this, and not so much centered around a character who will always be part of Fantastic Four. Galactus, you can plug and chug into any of the eras. Really, he's really appeared throughout the decades.
Yeah,
but you know, Mole Man, Black Panther, Watcher, Inhumans. Super Skrull, Namor.
It's a lot to put in there. They're even good delaying the Galactus. If you really want a good down-to-earth set in the 60s Fantastic Four story, you got to read this really underappreciated and not very much talked about run from the early 2000s called Fantastic Four Unstable Molecules. There was 4 issues of that.
Isn't that by Mark Waid?
No, but this I don't remember who it's by, but it's not Mark Waid. But Unstable Molecules is just 4 issues. It's like an Elseworldsy type thing, That book is so freaking good. Fantastic Four heads. If you've never read that, you have to.
Right. You know what? I can't wait till they get to the 80s and they get to the part where the Fantastic Four mixed up the team to deal with the Skrulls with like Wolverine and Spider-Man and She-Hulk.
That's the 90s.
Wasn't she again in the 90s? It was.
That's the 90s.
Wasn't
We'll
it
see if they go that
89?
route.
Wasn't it 89 or was that 92? I think it was
it's like
89.
93 or something, I think. But it's the Art Adams run.
It was the Art Adams and Walter
Simonson,
Simonson. Yeah. It was in the 380s.
It's 348. No, it's 348, 349, and it's 347, 348, 349.
Okay. Then I'm off by like 50 issues, but that's okay.
It's okay.
A for effort. Okay. A for effort.
Hey, bro, I'm the one that's read every Fantastic Four issue like at least 4 times.
My
Let's
man.
just say that. But
my man. But you know, I'm very interested to see what they do with that aspect. I'm like, that would be pretty freaking awesome.
The cool thing they'll do with the 80s run is She-Hulk replacing the Thing.
Yeah, that's something they could do. I want them to kind of play on Franklin Richards and just age him up through the decades because like they can do that.
Wait, here's
like,
the thing.
They can do that. That's the thing.
If they're going to do Franklin, please build it up to like some stuff that's forgotten about. Build it up to the idea that his son is Hyperstorm. You know, who's this villain who shows up in the Paul Ryan, Tom DeFalco run. And like, let me tell you once again, if we wouldn't have lost Paul Ryan, he would have been the perfect artist for this book. His run, Tom DeFalco, was amazing. Or Raringo, right? We've lost.
That would have been perfect.
3 of the best artists ever in comics. We lost, and they all are associated with the Fantastic Four. So yeah, John Paul Leon too. But you know, John Byrne's never going to work with Marvel again. But
yeah, John Byrne, I don't think will do work. I think he's going to sit on his winnings and just say, "I did it."
Yeah, but I thought it was okay. Fantastic Four life story. I thought it was pretty solid.
I think it
made my top 10 last week, but it didn't make it to the top. I do a video with Jim Mint Collectibles, and he put it further to the top.
Really? Yeah, Jem's cool. Jem's cool.
Jim's all right.
Yeah. He's okay. Yeah,
he's not here, so I can talk. I'm just kidding. Jim's my homie.
But he will be one day. He will be one day.
Oh yeah.
You know, I don't like.
I should send a message right now. I'll be like, "Fucking join me on the Scrubs channel, bro. We got to school this dude." I'm just kidding.
Hey, you know what? I will take on you in Gemment. I don't care how old I am. I don't care.
I know.
That
that's why I love it.
Twice my size.
That's why I love you, bro. That's why we love you.
Exactly. And so as long as I got Darkseid right here, I'm good.
What's the Darkseid?
I don't know. It's what's a Forever People. It's like the same thing, right?
This guy knows who Darkseid is, right?
I don't know. A chat? What's a Kirby? Anybody know?
Did he do Doomsday Clock?
I don't know. What is a Doomsday Clock? Probably the worst comic Jeff Johns ever wrote, next to 3 Jokers. But
what the fuck is? Why am I here? You're out your damn mind, bro. By the way, Jeff Johns has a really good comic out this week. It's the Stargirl.
Oh, the Stargirl.
The Stargirl Spring Break special is great. Right. JSA fans, you're not going to want to miss this.
That's something that's on my list to get into in DC. Is I want to go on a complete Jeff Johns binge of Teen. I started his Teen Titans. I finished his Hawkman, which is awesome. I still think Venditti's is better. That's just. I still love Robert Venditti's Hawkman. I think it's the best Hawkman I've ever read.
Yeah.
But I do want to start getting into that, like more Jeff Johns, because he does have a legacy. But I'm not the biggest Doomsday Clock fan. I'm not the biggest 3 Jokers fan. I think if 3 Jokers came out at a time where Joker War wasn't, or the Jeff Lemire Joker story, or Joker Harley Criminal Sanity, if we were repeating ourselves with so much Joker, Batman Who Laughs, I think I would have liked Joker War, all these different stories a lot better if they were.
Here's something though. We were talking about this evergreen. 10, 20 years from now, are we going to be talking about Joker War? Or are we going to be talking about 3 Jokers?
We are going to be talking about, I don't know. I don't think that's safe to say because it depends on how Tinian pays off what he's doing now.
3 Jokers is evergreen, bro. Trust me.
3 Jokers is evergreen because Jeff Johns I haven't written a in continuity Batman story until now. And I don't know. I think that because, if you're going to
It's not in continuity, though. It's not in
continuity. He said it was in continuity.
It's DC Black Label, though. So that's DC editorial telling you that it doesn't give a fuck what Jeff Johns says. This is not continuity. And if it is in continuity, where does it take place? Because Alfred's still alive.
Alfred is still alive. But also, my point is, I just lost my train of thought. If you're talking about Three Jokers, it's the fact that it holds the Killing Joke so close to it.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest reason why you're going to talk about it. Same thing with Doomsday Clock is because it's Jeff Johns trying to write like Alan Moore, or not trying to. It's trying to mimic. It's trying to give him a sequel. You know, and I think Taki hit. It depends on what Tinian does right now. You know, if Punch-On is a big character, if what he's doing now ever gets an animated series, which I think it would be perfect. I think
we
his
all
stuff
talk
will.
about No Man's Land, right? That was the introduction of Harley Quinn into the DCU. We all talk about No Man's Land, don't we? No, we don't. Like Three Jokers, because of its connection. And here's something else. Jeff Johns did an intense study on how Alan Moore writes a script and goes, well, I can't do that. But how do I adapt my style to be a little bit more complex, to be a little bit more layered and dense? And dude, Doomsday Clock and Three Jokers stretched Jeff Johns to the point where now he's giving us amazing stuff like Geiger.
Well, Geiger, I think was what Doomsday Clock
and Doomsday Clock to me was a fucking amazing, bruh. Doomsday Clock is amazing. I'm tired of the bit. I've read Doomsday Clock and I fucking love it. I don't give a shit.
See,
how long is this show, Brandon?
I don't know. I was planning on wrapping it up pretty soon.
How soon?
Probably like 5 more minutes.
What, you tired?
I'm not tired. Are you tired?
No.
I don't know. I usually don't embark on 2-3 hour
why?
This is my second 2-hour streams, but we still got people in the chat.
What do you guys want? You guys want us to keep going?
It depends on the chat. We got. I mean, we could talk books for days.
Yeah, bro. You've only asked me. I've only been able to talk about 3 books.
All right, you got more books? Let's talk about more books.
Bro, I got more books. I got to go take a whiz though, man.
Those are the beers. All right, I shall entertain. Travis says 6 hours. Entertain? Travis says 6 hours. So Travis,
don't bring me on here if you want to have a short little stream, bro.
Sure.
Like I don't know what you got things to do in the morning. What's going on?
Yeah, physical therapy at like 6
a.m. You got places to be? 6 a.m. Bro, I got to be at work. I get up at 7. No big deal.
I'm getting up at like 6 a.m.
What time zone you in?
Eastern.
Okay.
So it's like 11. It's like 11. Bruh. Right. I'll be fine.
If you want to call it quits, we can do it, bro.
We'll talk for a little bit more. Let's go till 11:30. Let's go to 11:30. Robbie, go take your piss, and we'll get to the home stretch.
What is a piss an herbal remedy? Because you're wearing me out, bro.
Okay.
This guy read a comic before?
I don't know. What is a comic book? Old people, guys, they can't hold their own bladder. That's why they can't hang in the kingdom. If you guys didn't notice, the background is welcoming Robbie to the kingdom. It's welcoming Robbie to the kingdom because Robbie is an honored guest. But hidden gem, boom, my man, boom. All right, everyone says keep it going. What is something that you guys are enjoying? Chat, let me know what you guys are enjoying down below. I have like a list of comics like I'm looking at right now. Go pee, Brennan. I don't have to pee right now. I'm good. I've had a few sips of water, and I think I've had 8 cups of coffee. I don't need to pee right now, guys. What are you talking about? What are you guys talking about? Come on. Can't have a kingdom without an army. Fable, we are pitting that to the top. We got the kingdom and the PCP army. We got the Trojans coming in with the Roman army. That's not even making sense. But guys, look what came in the mail today. All new Wolverine Omnibus by Tom Taylor. Guys, this series is golden. I'm super excited, except it came in damaged. Jesus, came in like hella damaged. So like I'm kind of pissed it didn't stock trades, but they got an email, so boom. We got that. And so, you know, him welcome you to the PCP. Know your place. Nah, bro. But guys, I did get this the other day. What's a Kirby? I don't know. What's a Forever People? First Appearance of Darkseid. I got this for a very good price, and I'm really excited to have this in the collection now. I don't care what you say, Travis. I like Jack Kirby. I do like Jack Kirby. I do. I like Steranko better, but I like Jack Kirby. See, Steranko created one of the best mutants of all time. That's Polaris. I'm telling you guys. You guys are not on the Polaris bandwagon, and I don't need anyone like being in competition. I want to have boom. Yes, we are live. We're still here, you guys.
Can I break
Yo.
your heart real quick, bro? You know that's not the first appearance of Darkseid, right?
It says first appearance of Darkseid.
Forever
First
People
full-
#1's not the first appearance of Darkseid.
First full appearance of Darkseid on the CGC label.
Oh, that is no. Come on.
But do you see what Fable says? Can't
What?
have a kingdom without an army. This is the kingdom. Looks like the PCP army's here. We have the kingdom and then the army. See, I made this background just for you, right? Just for you because it's welcoming you into. And this is Camelot from Black Knight. So
It's cool.
Little thing.
It's like a
it.
Jimmy Olsen. What is it? 136 or some shit?
Yeah, it's Jimmy Olsen. But that book is out of my price range right now.
It's just his head on a monitor. Though, don't worry about it.
I'm in a bidding war. I'm in a bidding war right now for an X-Men 50 CGC 9.0.
No, but yeah,
cover all time. But
Forever People #1's the first full figure Darkseid, right?
Right.
Dude, out of all of the Forever People's dope. Like I love the entire Kirby New God saga. So
I have the first 2 issue. I got the first appearance of Desaad in issue 2.
Nice.
Which I found that for like $5, like some old dude selling his collection, and I'm like, oh, that's Desaad. That's just snagged it.
That's nice.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. So you want to talk about more books? What books you have for me, Robbie? What books you got for me, bro?
Well, let's see.
An Old Man and His Comics.
Have you read Department of Truth?
I have, and I'm
Department
getting
of Truth one of the best.
It is. I actually did a deep dive with Comics Will Break Your Heart. We did it a few months ago. And that was a great video. I don't know. Tiny is so.
You had Jennifer on your show?
Yeah, Jen's a homie, bro.
I don't believe it. Nobody told me that.
I don't know, right? He doesn't listen.
Okay.
I'm telling you guys, he doesn't listen.
Okay.
Ravi does not listen.
Yeah.
I'm talking to my first appearance of Bullseye right over here.
Yeah, nice.
You're talking.
What is that? 129? What is that one?
131.
131. I was close.
Come on, man. Know your Daredevil. 131.
What's a Daredevil? I've only read the Kevin Smith stuff.
I don't know. You're not a true fan.
I'm still waiting for the Target #2.
Oh, okay.
No, Department of Truth is amazing to me. Look at Martin Simmons' work on the book Friendo. Look at Martin Simmons' work on Punk is Dead from IDW. Look at his work on Department of Truth, and it's like this is a dude who can change up his style to do exactly
100%.
what the book needs to. This is a Dave McKean, Bill Sienkiewicz inspired style of artwork that blows me away. This is the closest to a Vertigo book I think we've had in a long ass time.
Right.
I'm loving it. I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, and I'm a true conspiracy theorist.
I don't know.
I'm a true conspiracy theorist because I believe that 98% of conspiracy theories are bullshit. Okay. So I don't really get into a whole lot of stuff, but I'm liking this book a lot. I like that it deals with subject matter that I like to dive into, and it's all entertainment, Yeah. But the book is stretching the medium forward. This has been a recurring thing. If anybody wants to know what are the kind of comics that Robbie really likes, I mean, there's the fanboy side of me, but I like comics that move the medium forward. Department of Truth is one of them. I freaking love this book, as well as Something is Killing the Children. Why?
Boom.
Here's another theme for tonight. Verbosity in writing, right? Overly wordy writers. James Tynion is one of those writers, and he just does a bunch of exposition dumps. But when you bring in Deladera on Something is Killing the Children, you bring in Simmons on Department of Truth, you bring in Dialinus in Wind. These are artists that know how to break down a James Tynion script. And when you have a writer who's perfect for his artist or for their artist,
it just works. It's like heaven and earth, like Big Sean says.
Yeah. So Department of Truth, Something is Killing the Children. Both of them have new issues out this week. Those are amazing.
Right. And Tynion is doing a signing at Third Eye, which I will be attending, and I did get my VIP, so I will be getting some of those issues with a nice little sing and get to talk to, which is going to be like the height of my experience. Because he's also, bro.
Where are you at?
Maryland. I'm an hour from Third Eye.
Are you in Baltimore or near Baltimore?
No.
An hour from Baltimore?
Yeah, about 45 minutes. Okay.
Are you an Orioles fan?
I'm from Pittsburgh originally,
Okay.
so
I got
am
confused
all
because
things
I heard you
Buccaneers.
say Pittsburgh and then
Yeah,
okay.
because I talk about Pittsburgh because it's like a second home. My parents actually have a house up there, so it's kind of like dual living. But
Bruh,
third eye's like,
let's meet in Pittsburgh, man. Let's hang out, bruh.
where are you at? Where are you at, bro?
Alabama.
Bro.
Alabama. Tell you what. Well, meet me halfway in October. At the end of October, we're going to be in Lexington, Kentucky, at Scarefest 13. So you should show up there if you like horror movies.
I'll show up there just to see you, Robbie.
Oh
But
shit!
I also have something called Baltimore Comic Con, which is the best convention of the year.
I think it's going on at the same time as Scarefest. Actually,
Yeah.
Hey, I go to Heroes Con though. When it comes back next year, we should meet there.
We will.
It's the best con in the States.
There we go. I was gonna do what's the con in Connecticut? What's the con in Connecticut? Someone help me out.
ESPN Con.
Not ESPN Con.
That's the only thing I know about Connecticut. ESPN's there.
No, it was it was Connecticut. I was gonna do the con in Connecticut. Terrificon. Boom. Terrificon.
Is it the con?
No, it's the Terrificon.
Oh, cool.
I was gonna go because like a lot of people in the community are heading up there. A lot of my friends are in the Northeast as well. But I'm having my 4th hip surgery. I just had one about 6-7 weeks ago, but I'm having another one. So, nice. Boom! That's a recent development. And
you should be super hip right now.
I am super hip, bro. I'm like, bro, they can't give me any more metal on my hips. Like they're starting to replace it. But
you're gonna be like Inspector Gadget. You're gonna be like Forge, bruh.
I love how this pays off. You know why? Because Manny's always telling me that I need to go to my bedtime. Manny, bro. You need me to come tuck you in, Manny.
Yeah. You need some sleepy sleep. Need some resty rest. Go to beddy bed. Bye, Manny. He can't hang. Manny can never hang.
Exactly. 4 a.m. comes early for that king right over there. Like
Arnold says, like Arnold Schwarzenegger says, Manny, I suggest you learn to sleep faster, my friend. Then you can get a lot more done.
But everyone, let's wish tomorrow a good night. Sleep well.
I love that
dude.
You know,
Benny is one of the best people in the community.
You know, I've known that dude for like 5 years or so now. Like, when PCP was like less than 100 subs, I knew Manny. So
dude, that's crazy.
That dude's been there from the beginning.
And ComixKings is at 204. I don't.
Nice.
But it's new because we used to do stuff on IGTV, me and my friend, but he's no longer part of the brand. So I moved everything over to YouTube in like the past 2 months or so, 2-3 months. So I'm happy. I'm happy, but I'm not happy. Right? I'm happy because
you've gotten to 200 plus subscribers in 2 months.
I'm happy because I'm grateful for like the interaction, everything. That's like number one. But also I'm not happy because I know I could be doing more. That's like because I know I could be better. That's what I'm not happy with.
You've hit over 200 in 2 months?
2.5, 3 months.
Bro, you know how long it took me to make my first 100 subscribers back in the day? Like, I mean, we're only talking about 2015, but like nobody was doing like, bruh, you are doing great. Dude, you got me on your show. You know who I got on my show at 200 subs? Fucking nobody. My friends.
But
you know what I'm saying, man?
We're not here for we're not here for the subs. We're here for the comics, right?
Yes, you are. Everybody sub up. If you're not subbed up to this dude right here, let me tell you something. Dude. If I felt the need and the desire, if I agreed to show up on his show, it's because I saw something worthwhile in this cat right here.
I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining about the subs.
Stop interrupting me, Brandon, when I'm fucking pumping you up. What's wrong with you?
Robbie, I love you, bro. Mwah. Kisses all around Robbie.
Y'all sub up if you haven't already. PCP Army, step up. Let's share this dude. Let's get him up there. Do you like horror movies? Do you want to be on the horror show?
I would.
You good?
I could be. I can be.
You like horror movies? What's your favorite horror movie?
I don't watch horror movies, but I could. I get into it. I'm a dummy person.
We're gonna find the gnarliest movie and be like, hey, let's find the most gnarly movie we can think of and invite Brandon onto the horror show, Dylan.
Boom. But no, I'm not complaining about my subs. I'm complaining because I get lazy. This is why, by my standards, like, okay, so I do martial arts, or before my hips started getting fucked up, I used to do martial arts, and it's like, I've never been happy where I am because there's always that next level, right? Yeah. Like, numbers are great. Interaction is great, but as myself, I'm never satisfied with where I am, because I know that there's something that I could be doing to better myself, to better the channel, to better my interaction to other people.
Yeah.
Like something that I've been struggling with is I've been called like for like a lot of people who are enjoying some books, I kind of shit on them like to their face. I'm like, well, I can work better on it. That's what I'm getting at. That's like my definition of getting lazy is I will go live because I can talk, because I have the energy to talk, but I don't have the energy to sit there and edit a video. That's why I don't do edited videos, which I need to.
Play to your strengths, bro. Play to your strengths. I hate editing videos, man. I don't do that.
And I know, like in the YouTube algorithm, they can get reach as crap, but Brandon, that's it.
Listen, man. I love that drive, and you got to always strive to be better. Every day is another opportunity to be better. I love that. I love that about you. Keep that going. But at times, remember, and this is something I'm learning the hard way right now, you got to remember to stop and just enjoy it sometimes and take a break. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And bro, your work ethic, your passion, I fucking love it, dude. I'm not here just to come in weird stretch on you. You know, I mean, that would be enticing, but that'd be a waste of a Monday night for me. This has not been a waste of a Monday night for me. I've enjoyed this, bro.
Me too, bro. And Robbie, I love having you on the show, man.
I'm still only halfway through my list.
You're only halfway through your list, bro. We got to get going on this list, man.
Let me just do a run through real quick, okay?
Then let's just do a run through and we'll circle back. Boom. Let's do it.
Once and Future.
Boom. Read it. Love it.
Read that book. The best book at DC right now, Swamp Thing.
Boom. Love it.
Read it.
Justice League Dark.
Ha ha. From Image. Get on that.
Funny.
Wasted Space. I mentioned it a little bit ago. And the second best book at DC right now is Joker. Crime noir. Gillian March doing like really good work. That's not just, cheesecake TNA, which nothing wrong with that. But
nothing wrong with that, bro.
Let's move it a little bit further than that sometimes. And I think that's great. Carmen is another great book from him. Fantastic. And if you like nudity, plenty of nudity there, just not sexualized.
Yeah, Gillian March is a nudist. So
and I love it. I love it. Best books at Marvel, because I knew everybody would be like, you haven't mentioned a Marvel, right? Also at DC Action Comics, we mentioned and Wonder Woman.
I had Becky and Michael Conrad.
You had Becky and Michael on, right, bruh?
We're doing a giveaway of signed Wonder Woman books coming up soon.
So there you go.
Get in.
I got a top 5 for Marvel right now.
I want to hear this. I really am interested in this.
Everybody's been asking me this, and instead of doing a Rockin Robbie live and revealing it, I'll reveal it here. My top 5 current Marvel comics. Number 5, Strange Academy.
Yes.
It does what Teen Titans Academy wishes it did.
Yes, Robbie, the smartest thing you said all day.
Oh, fuck you. Number 4, Daredevil. We've already explained why. Number 3, Thor. That's Donnie's focus right now. Yes. Whether he's on Hulk or something else, maybe he's just going to focus on Thor.
We're here for it. We are here for it.
We're here for it because it's dope. Number 2, and this is surprising to me, my second favorite Marvel book right now is Fantastic Four.
Oh, it's been getting great since Empire.
Right?
Since Empire. Right? And I think
what happened was Dan Slott got rid of his other projects.
Right.
Now we can focus on the 4, and he's throwing back to so much from the 90s.
Yeah, and it's so good. People don't. I think that is the most underappreciated book in Marvel right now. Yeah. Where you can talk about any book you want, but talk about RB Silva bringing in some new love as well. But no, it's Dan Slott that are keeping people on the book as well.
Yeah, RB Silva has a lot to do with it too, though, because now the book feels grandiose and epic.
And RB Silva has that like kind of classical feel to his layouts and stuff. And it feels like I wouldn't say like a Fantastic Four, but should feel like you're at home. And this book feels at home, It
feels like Stuart Immonen at his peak.
Boom.
Is what it feels like
Stuart,
to me.
Yes. Before all of his cases, but that's a different.
And my number one favorite Marvel book right now is X-Men. And it's because of what we talked about. regardless of what you think about the direction of the entire line. And there's a lot of fluff out there, but the thing is, they're making a book for different people.
And that's what you want in an X-Men line is some people like niche stuff. Go X-Force. If you just want something balls to the wall, go X-Force. You want something
we had
bit
Joe
more
Corallo.
fluffy,
We had Joe Corallo on again recently, and he was like, the problem is when you do the crossovers and you expect that the person that likes X Factor is going to want to read Wolverine and X-Force. The two completely different audiences, really, right? But here's the thing. What Hickman himself is doing on his X books, phenomenal. In fact, some would say excellent, extraordinary, extremely cool.
Extremely cool. Ecstatic. Ecstatic.
Nice little Mike Aldridge reference. I'm mad for it, man.
Boom. Look at Robbie being all punny. I didn't think he had that under his belt. Underappreciated Savage Avengers. I would say that now that Pat Serger's back on the book. However, if you want me to leave a book, you put Kev Walker on it, and they were pushing my case for 2 issues.
Well, it was also the King of Black tie-in that completely derailed the story.
I hate Kev Walker. I don't hate him.
I'm not the biggest fan either.
I don't like his art. I think
who at Marvel said, "Oh, we got Predator back. Let's get Kev Walker on."
Who said it? We want our Doctor Strange movie to suck? That was the biggest thing. Oh my gosh.
I mean, like, they got Ed Brisson doing the new Predator book.
Why did that book?
That's
why
fine.
did his Ghost Rider get canceled?
Oh, Jesus. Anyway,
why did Ghost Rider get canceled? What he was doing with Johnny Blaze and Danny Ketch, yeah, it was a big reminder that they're brothers. But you talking about an overuse of Mephisto not feeling like an overuse of Mephisto, that was the book for you.
You know what an overuse of Mephisto is right now? The biggest overusage of Mephisto ever is everybody's goddamn fan theories about every single episode of every Marvel show.
Is Mephisto. You know what? And that's the biggest thing. Like what during WandaVision is that would have been a complete degrade to the characters in that show, a big degrade. And Marvel's not ready for Mephisto yet. You're not going to see Mephisto until you get Blade. You're not going to see that for years. Mephisto is also. I don't think he's an MCU villain right now. I really don't. I really don't think they're there yet. But and I feel like people pushed that book so much and Mutants to where speculators didn't. People stopped enjoying WandaVision for what it was for and for the speculation. And because the speculation wasn't correct or wasn't what the popular opinion was, it ruined people's enjoyment of the overall film. That's what I don't like about speculation, because we all talk about, like we even speculated today, what will Donny Cates write next? If he doesn't write Hulk, will we all be butthurt? No. But it's when speculation gets to that point is when people stop enjoying stuff. When money's involved.
Buy what you enjoy.
Right. Preach. That's the biggest thing in this hobby. Buy what you enjoy. Be happy for other people and what they enjoy. And
if it's not fun, stop.
Right. If you're not enjoying it, right, that's really why we're all here. That's why we're here talking in a Monday night. It's because we enjoy it.
You know it. I'm going to enjoy this movie later. Trust me.
I'm sure you will. Brandon Comic Thompson switch bodies and it might make more sense. You know what? People say I have the energy of Comic Tom. Comic Tom's a great guy. You know, he is a great guy. He's in a great position. Do I agree with the way he does and the way he pushes some books? No. At the end of the day, it's his job. He's making money. But he's also, and he can't control the FOMO shop. He has no control over what people choose to spend their money on. He can just put the word out there. I'm just playing to his defense. I don't think he's ruining the comic community. I think people.
Tom is authentic. Y'all need to know that. I don't know Tom.
He's personally. He's a nice guy.
I've met him. I've met him only like once on a stream, but like I know good friends of his, Bueller and Jim Mint, and Tom is authentic and has a passion for this community that a lot of us recognize. But
right,
Tom's a super good dude.
Right. And at the end of the day, that's really what it comes down to. He's in a position to where he can influence the market, and I don't think it's. But you know, people
influence the market, bro.
We all do.
Just telling your homie, don't buy that book, buy this one. You at the shop, you out there in the community, you influence this market. We're all influencers, and that's not a bad word. Not in the comic book industry, because we need influencers. We need everybody to give their opinions, right?
Right. I'm not taking it out of context. I don't think I am. I know it's all jokes, and I would like to talk to the Comic Tom. I like to meet new people in the community, right? And it kind of just segued into a conversation. I don't think I'm taking it the wrong way. I just think my ADHD spun it into a new series, if relating it to comics. So it's like Avengers No Surrender and then the Quicksilver series. That's what just happened. It was a fun book. I liked it. I like No Road Home better.
Yeah, I didn't like any of it.
Well, it did its job. It came out on time. They told the tale they wanted to, and they dipped. I think it's better than everything.
You're right. It did its job. I didn't say it was the worst comic ever, Brandon. Goddamn. Come on, calm down.
Hey,
calm down, young man.
We didn't talk about Jim Zub on Conan. That's a book no one's talking about, and I'm
because I haven't been reading it, man. You know what Conan book I'm loving right now? The Sumerian from Ablaze. That book is fucking awesome.
Is it awesome?
I've read the Conan books. You know what? They start eventually boring me. They really do. The Sumerian from Ablaze, there's something about those books. They're awesome. They're unofficial licensed Conan books. They're not licensed. They're unofficial, right? They don't call them, they're not called Conan. They're called the Sumerian or whatever, right? But like, dude,
it's a Conan story.
Those books are like some of the best Conan books I've ever read. But I'm not a swords and fantasy kind of guy. I'm more of a horror sci-fi kind of guy.
Right. I like magic. I'm more of a magic reader, which is why I'm so surprised you liked Strange Academy, because it does have those themes in there.
Yeah, but it's got like that feel of like Wolverine, Jason Aaron's Wolverine and the X-Men,
It's so much fun.
Yeah, it's very fun. It's what Teen Titans Academy wishes it was.
It really is. And I think that Tim Schafer, well, the thing about Teen Titans Academy too is the tier level of the cast, right? Nightwing, Raven, Beast Boy, they've never really gotten seminal work or really treatment done at their adult stages. Dick Grayson Cyborg has to a degree, but not so much Raven, not so much Beast Boy. So as much as I would like those characters to get their moments, they're not getting them. And then you have another class, which is the older Teen Titans, and then the newer class, which is like these new guys getting introduced. There's so much going on to where Tim Sheridan, I feel like, doesn't have the time. He doesn't have the time to talk about all those characters, give them all their individual moments. Sandoval doesn't have the time to make his art as gorgeous as it is. I'm surprised at how good the book looks. But I think that it's too complex, and Strange Academy is a much simpler line. These characters have already had their work as adults. Maybe not magic, but her character works. Scarlet Witch, boom.
Well, it's the new characters that make it stand out. Like, for instance, the new characters in Strange Academy.
Doyle is my favorite. Doyle's my favorite.
The crystal giant frost guy. They're all the frost giant dude, the crystal guy. Like, they all are interesting, but like the new characters in Teen Titans Academy are not interesting to me.
Yeah, I think that's also a thing. Scotty Young is a great. I love his Middle West. I think that's another indie book that I don't think a lot of people talk about, and it's a short run. So you guys want to binge it, 3 volumes long, and you will get a great story out of it. Jorge Corona is on the art. It's great. And it's also like a good Midwest theme. Robbie, I don't know why you're staring at me like that. But I like that book. I really do. I like Middle West.
It's a great book. It's one of Scotty Young's best written books he's ever done.
Next to Strange Academy, of course. I
think it's better so far, but we'll see.
Well, there's still a lot to play out.
Having Humberto Ramos on the book consistently has
great.
Been. Right. I said early on, as long as Humberto's on this book, it will be good.
Right.
And he's been on that book every single issue.
Right. So. And I think those books was very planned out for Humberto Ramos to stay on, because he does like to take his time more so than like a lot of other people.
He's better when he's not rushed, man.
Right. He's 100% better.
Have you ever read his Crimson run? His vampire book? Oh, it's so good, isn't it?
I followed Humberto Ramos for a while, and I think the reason why his Hunted storyline with Spider-Man wasn't so great is because it was so rushed. And he was so forced with, we have to have 23 and 23.8 HU, 24, 24.8 HU, and then just 25 HU.
Yeah.
Which was stupid, right? It's like you said, it's 25 point BS. It's stupid. I've never seen a comic book get from issue 20 to issue 23 with 9 issues in between. That's stupid. And it should never fucking happen in comics. I'm sorry.
You're right.
It strikes a nerve. Like Peter Griffin says, it really grinds my gears.
What's up, Peter Griffin?
I don't know. What's a giggity giggity?
Oh, is it Seth MacFarlane? Seth MacFarlane? Oh,
I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is.
I don't get it.
I don't know. Rick and Morty, bro. But yeah, Rick and Morty's fun. I need to finish the 4th season.
Yeah, it's not. That's Rick and Morty's not Seth MacFarlane.
You know, but it's still fun.
Where am I at right now? Is this real?
He's in a kingdom. His PCP army has converged over into the kingdom.
Are we taking over, y'all? Is this my channel now?
No.
Is this my channel now?
This is not Game of Thrones where you tackle each and every channel, Robbie.
Oh, shit.
I know. Wrong thing.
I've been working on comics with Bueller for a while. You just wait. I got my spies in there.
You know what? Bueller is not here right now, so you can openly discuss it. And I doubt he'll be catching the replay. He might. Bueller's fun.
I hate that guy.
I know, right? He's such a prick. You know what he called me? He called me his grandson. Can you believe that guy called me his grandson?
No, that's what Bueller did. Dude, if Bueller called you his grandson, that's a good thing.
I know. I love Bueller.
Bueller is the true godfather. We like to refer that Jim as the kingpin, but like the real godfather, the Vito Corleone, is Bueller.
Yo,
that dude can sell out of an exclusive like that. The rest of us, it takes some time. Trust me.
Oh my gosh! And Bueller still has 20,000.
By the way, buy the PCP exclusive now.
Buy it, guys. What is wrong with all of you?
Brandon, did you buy one yet?
I will.
Okay.
I love how you put me on the spot. I'm like, I'm gonna shoot you an invoice after
I'm trying to make sales, man. Come on.
Yeah, guys, Robbie is trying to make a living just like I'm trying to get interviews. If you guys have any creators you want on the channel, let me know and I'll try to get them.
We're just trying to pay for this new laptop I just got in today, so I'm very excited.
Facts. I also have Alex Sinclair coming on June 19th. Pretty cool.
Nice.
I confirmed the other day. And he's another returning member of the channel, so that's a lot of fun. Alex Sinclair, although he didn't do great work on Spider-Man, we don't have to talk about it because he did do one of the best Green Lantern stories ever made, Blackest Night, which is a Jeff Johns book, which I do love. Blackest Night, for all you DC fans, that's the book that got me into DC Comics, was Blackest Night, and it kickstarted my love for Green Lantern. You want to talk about one of the best Green Lantern stories that you will never top, and it's Jeff Johns' Green Lantern. Danny O'Neill's is good too, but I prefer Jeff Johns's. I do. Prefer it.
Fair enough.
I prefer it. Doug Mankey was doing his thing. Ivan Reyes, Van Scherper, even though he's a dick, he did good artwork, and I hate to say it. I hate to give him his flowers, but he did do great work. Doug Mankey in his prime, guys. Fantastic work. Blackest Night. Ivan Reyes, Alex Sinclair. Can't get better. Cannot get better, guys. I think Ivan Reyes is very good. I think that's the reason why the Batman Superman book works is because of Ivan Reyes. That's the only reason why it's working.
That's a great
reason. It's the only reason why I'm able to comprehend what's happening in there is because Ivan Reyes can just draw Lois Lane going from film to film, like connecting the two through her falling body. It's only Ivan Reyes can do that.
Well,
only.
Gene Luen Yang is doing a really great job too of just kind of throwing back to that pulpy feel. And making it feel like a classic comic.
It feels like Superman Clash of Clans, whatever it was. Smashes the Clan. Smashes the Clan. It's like he took the same themes from that and just threw it into this book because more people are going to be reading this book because it's mainstream.
Yeah.
Which is fine, right? All writers are guilty of that too. I would even say Donny Cates is guilty of that with No and God Country, but. That's not a knock on them. That's just how things are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I have a fan I love it, hate it at the same time. Boom. We all have this stuff. You know, there was one thing that I loved and hate is when Marv Wolfman almost got into a car accident with me. That was, true story.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was my freshman year in college. I was on my way to my LCS. I got on the highway. Next exit, some schmuck gets on the highway. He almost hits me because he didn't know how to merge. I go to beep. I go to flip him off. I say, hey, that's Marv Wolfman.
Nice.
I get to the LCS like 10 minutes before the guy because I think he went the wrong way. His daughter lives in the same town as me. So whenever he's visiting his daughter, he always goes to the store. And I missed my next class because we were chatting with Marv Wolfman. And he did not know that it was me that he almost hit.
Oh, there you go.
But I
That's a
do.
good story.
I should have let him hit me.
Yeah, you should have.
Do you know how many books I would have now?
Yeah, you should have got that insurance money, man.
No, screw the insurance money. I will pay for that. I want the books. The insurance money, I can write it. That'll solve itself. But hey, good times. Good times. Good times. You got any cool stories like that, Robbie?
No.
Nice. What is an embarrassing story from a con that you've ever had? Like from one of your, you can recall. What's yours, Frank? Card 2? I wish.
How about when I met Austin St. John, who was the first Red Ranger in Power Rangers, right? And I met him a couple years ago. And he asked me, how old were you when you watched Power Rangers? And I looked at him. I was like, too fucking old, man. I'm sorry. I was so nervous, man. No, I get nervous sometimes meeting people. That really? Kind of, that's a little embarrassing. But yeah, Jason David Frank, when I first met him, I couldn't even speak. It was wild. It was wild. But
that
yeah.
Might be
There's that. That's it. The other one is in the most recent con we did a panel, and it was the last panel on Sunday, the last day. So nobody was at the con. So we had nobody in this big ass room. Okay. And we had 5 people there, probably. No, we probably had 7 or 8. And then 2 of them left. So there's that.
There you go.
Or whatever.
I think for me, I have 2 stories. One was the first time I met Dan Jurgens. It was my first con. I had no idea because it was my first time getting into comics. I was there because my friend didn't have anyone else to go with. And I was like, yeah, cool. I'm into comics. Yeah, I'm trying to get into it. So it was my way. And someone, it says, excuse me. I turn around, I'm like, who the fuck are you? And my friend's like, dude, that's Dan Jurgens. I'm like, oh, shit. And I'm like, who's Dan Jurgens? He's like, Death of Superman. I'm like, huh? And I'm like, oh. Now, and a year later, here's the same con. And he was like, do you remember me now? I do know who I am now. I'm like, yeah, I do. Can you sign my Death of Superman?
Nice.
Good times. And I used to go to cons in suitcases. I used to bring everything in my collection, which was probably 100 some books by the time of the next con. And it spilled out right in front of Neil Adams. And I had to say, hey, Neil Adams, can you leave your chair so I can take get my comic to now under it. and that dude smelled because it was on a Sunday and he was done for the day, man.
Yeah, that's pretty embarrassing, bro.
I know. Except Neil's awesome. So we joked about it the following 2 years later.
Well, there you go.
Fabian Nicieza signed my Deadpool socks. I didn't have anything Deadpool on me at the time other than the socks. So he signed my socks. He's like, that's a first.
Nice. Fabian Nicieza is super cool, dude.
Yeah, I know. Cooler than Rob Liefeld, I hear.
What?
I said cooler than Rob Liefeld, I hear.
Yeah, I've never met Rob, but Fabian's super cool. And I'm the biggest Night Thrasher fan in Alabama. So
you're a little.
You really like that. I did a panel with him, and everybody asked Deadpool questions, but I kept asking him about Night Thrasher. And then he took me downstairs after the panel and introduced me to Mark Bagley. And he goes, Mark, this is the dude I was telling you about. He's the Night Thrasher fan, the only one in Alabama.
The only one in Alabama. That's perfect, dude. We could talk about Mark Bagley for days, and I honestly think when you're talking about contributions to a character, Mark Bagley has that legacy with Spider-Man. Oh. I really do. And I don't Venom. Think that and Venom too, that whole universe. I kind of put Venom and Spider-Man together.
And Carnage, right?
You look at what Bagley has done since when he come on the book in 1987 was his debut.
Real? Was it? On Spider-Man?
I think it was either 86 or... Was it? I think it was 87.
It's after Larson. He came in after Larson.
Okay. Then in the early 90s. I get confused in my years, but I give myself a plus or minus 5 years, and I'm okay.
I know, man. Wikipedia is hard to navigate. I understand.
You know what? Yeah, there are a lot of different...
Comic Vine's difficult, man. I get
Not all YouTubers know what they're talking about, guys. Except for us. But yeah, like he's had the best legacy on Spider-Man, I think, and he's really revolutionized everything there is to Spider-Man. Ultimate Spider-Man is the encyclopedia for a new Spider-Man reader. 100%. Pre-order your omnibus, guys. Pre-order your omnibus.
Do it.
Already got mine. What cover did you get?
For what?
For the omnibus. Did you order yours?
What omnibus?
The Ultimate Spider-Man?
I don't need the omnibus.
Ah.
I got it all up here, man. I've read it.
I've read it too. I've read it twice.
I collected all the issues. No, I don't own it physically anymore. Are they doing a new omnibus?
Yeah,
they're doing one before.
They're doing a new printing of it, which is great, which is fantastic. Yeah. I like to stay on my omnibuy because they do help me catch up on stuff that I missed.
I don't buy a lot of them, but I have a handful, but I don't have a lot of them.
I like to invest in some omnibuy when I get the chance.
Omnibuy.
I don't even know what to call them. Are they omnibuses? Are they omnibuy? Omnibusy sounds like
omnibuses. But here's one of my favorites right there. DC
boom.
1 million. Huge.
Dude, that's a big bitch. That is a big bitch. That's what you call a big bitch.
Huge.
Wow, we still got 19 people hanging in the chat. They must be liking this.
Here's a good one too.
King Commandy by Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
I
Jack
enjoy.
Kirby. You ever heard of Jack Kirby?
I don't know. What is a Jack Kirby?
Yeah.
I don't know. Commandy's always been a character that I haven't really been able to get into. I like the way Jurgens did him leading into Future State. I thought that was really thoughtful. Because it was like something that I didn't see. I didn't see it coming, I thought he would have been doing something with Booster Gold, which he ended up kind of doing, but it was more Commandy focused, and I liked it. But yeah. Robbie, read Conan, bro.
I'll try.
Boom. For me. Do it for me, bro. Read Jim Zub's Conan. It's fantastic. Okay. Corey Smith's doing the artwork. Can't get better than that.
Okay.
Star Wars, War of the Bounty Hunters, guys. I'm telling you, I'm so excited. So excited. I love that. I love what they're doing, And I think that it's good that we see the talent of McNiven, because at the last time him and Charles Soule collabed together, it wasn't the best. Wolverine. Return of Wolverine was not the best. They had to get Declan Shalvey to draw in between because McNiven was taking his sweet-ass time. But I think the combination of Luke Ross and McNiven doing this book is going to be great. And I think, but McNiven, he's doing most of it. I like it. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the ride. I'm enjoying the crossover. It's something that, as Star Wars fans of the original trilogy, it's something that we need, that attention on Boba Fett. And now's a great time for it. Robbie, what are your thoughts on it?
I don't know, man. I never watched Star Trek Enterprise, so I don't know what a Mandalorian is.
I don't know. It's Live Long and Prosper, or what is the Force? I don't know. What's a Force?
I don't know. I never watched Star Trek Enterprise. I'm sorry.
Me neither.
I only watched the first 10 episodes. That was it. So
Robbie's gonna talk shit. I don't know. Fable. What's a shit? What's a shit? I don't know. Did you get through all your books?
What?
Did you get through all your books, your top 5s?
Yeah.
I'm going to run through my list real quick. If we're talking about indie books, I have to say Firepower is on that list. Noctera is on that list. Crossover, Seven Secrets, Something is Killing the Children, I think make my top 5. Department of Truth, which we talked about. Wind, which we talked about. Once in Future is on. I would put Once in Future kind of tying. But it's on hiatus right now, so it's out of my mind for the time being. But those are really my big 5 with DC right now. Nightwing Nightwing's number 1, but let's start from number 5. I really like Detective Comics, Swamp Thing, which we talked about. Nightwing, Batman, right? What else is going on in DC that I'm enjoying? That's really about it. I think my DC is very niche right now. In my enjoyment, because I really want to say Justice League Dark, but it's not there anymore. That was like my favorite book coming out at the time, and it was like they just snatched it away and threw it somewhere. So I'm still a little bitter about it. I'm very bitter because Robbie can write the crap out of those characters.
Yeah, it's a shame that he's
Action Comics and Wonder Woman I'm enjoying too.
It's a shame that Ron V's only getting 10 pages in a Justice League. So.
And it's still better than the main book.
Yeah, it is.
And I love Bendis. It's just DC. He doesn't have the same knowledge of DC that he did for Marvel, I think. I don't know. I think Bendis is getting pushed into that position, but that's a completely different story. For Marvel, right? Daredevil, anything X-Men, you guys know I'm reading. You really want to talk about a great book, Savage Avengers. We talked about Strange Academy. Guardians has been picking up a lot. Robbie, you reading Guardians?
No, but I hear I should get caught up on it. So.
You should. We talked about Thor. Really, my mainstay right now is Marvel because I do think that they have a lot of great visionaries, and I think that it's all going to come together. I think that they're doing a lot of great things, and I think that their titles are all hitting right now, except for Avengers and Spider-Man, but I kind of avoid those. Everything else to me is really hitting hard more than it really has been, except for Shang-Chi. That recent issue just pissed me the hell off.
Huh.
It's
interesting that you got such an ass backwards view of Marvel right now, but it's okay.
My view is, I really do think Marvel is doing a lot of stuff, and it really does feel like it's hitting, and I really am digging how they're utilizing their major cast of characters. It's not like in Marvel, the one thing you don't have to worry about is them not really touching on a character because they're bound to show up at some point. I think with DC, a lot of times their characters get lost due to the overflow of Batman books, of Superman books, right? And even a lot of Justice League characters. You couldn't tell me where Captain Atom is right now. You couldn't tell me where Atom, right? A lot of Adam Strange, if he was in continuity, where would he be? Strange Adventures is a great story that's going on right now as well. That's really the thing that really separates Marvel is they understand where their characters fit in their universe. And they're there, right?
Yeah.
That's really the biggest thing. And when you have their events like King and Black, you just see them all there. War of the Realms is a perfect example of an event that really hit home for me. Is if you wanted to read what Captain America is doing, go read his spinoff. You want to read what the Agents of Atlas are doing, boom. Journey to Mystery, boom. It's not like those stories will overflood the main story, but it's a different avenue if you're curious. If this character's for you, you can go see what they're doing. Right, and that's how they keep their characters in circulation. That'll eventually spin into their own stuff. And I think War of the Realms was really good at how they managed their spin-offs and just being very enjoyable. And I think Civil War is great too with those characters.
Okay, that's interesting.
But you don't agree with me, but you see my point, and I like how you see my point. I don't care that you don't agree with it. But yeah.
I didn't say anything, but whatever. Let's do it.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's roll with it, you guys. And we are hitting that 2 hour and 50 mark. We're hitting right over it. I believe that is a good time to stop. Much like Manny, I got to go to bed. But Robbie.
Hey, you got to get up early, man.
Yeah, I know. I got to fix the hips. Get on the grind. But thank you all for participating in the chat tonight, staying the whole time. Guys, this was so much fun. If you guys are not subbed up to Robbie, then I guarantee you're not doing this whole YouTube comic community thing right, because Robbie is a big pillar in this community. If you need a hype man every Tuesday, watch Robbie. If you need a hype man, I feel like Robbie and I have some of the biggest energies in the comic community, but, boom. Guys, follow Robbie. Interact with Robbie. He's a great guy. He knows his shit. Sometimes when he's not rambling. Fanboy DC, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
You're funny,
Kevin
man.
Smith there. No, oh my gosh.
By the way,
guys.
Marvel's got the best direction ever. So.
You know what? Take Greg Glad and Heroes Were Born and Avengers and what Nick Spencer's doing. And yes, even though I just listed some of the biggest things,
Okay.
But anyway, if you guys are not subbed to me, if you do want to help out the channel a little bit, boom, got some cool content coming for you guys. As always, weekly wrap up is an every Friday show right before Dylan's horror show, I believe, because you guys are at what, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock?
We've
10.
been doing
so
it
we are,
at 7 Eastern lately is what we've been doing.
okay, because my show's at 8 Eastern. So you guys have 2 great shows then. Tag Team
But they're
Thursday.
replays.
Yeah, there
Replays.
are replays. So if you don't want to catch movie night, if you want to say movie night for Saturday, or you want to say a weekly wrap up till you're done reading your weeklies, go ahead. Both are great. Tag Team Thursday. Bearded Comic, bro. My man caught it just in time. What is a beard? What is a bearded bro? I don't even know anymore. But
what's up, Brandon? Who's Brandon?
I don't know. What's a Greg? What's a Robbie? What's
Hey, Brandon, can I say something real quick before we leave?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because I didn't know if you're going to throw it to me one more time, but like, I have some homework for you. Okay? You ready?
I'm ready.
I want you to read this book. Kirby, King of Comics by Mark Evanier. Okay, write this shit down. Don't put up your pen, bruh. I'm being serious. Read this, okay? Read this book. Okay? You written that down?
Yeah.
All right, then I want you to read this book.
I knew this shit was coming.
Do you know who Tom Scioli is?
What's a Tom Scioli?
Tom Scioli is a really good artist and illustrator in this industry. He did a book recently called Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics. And it's an illustrated biography of Jack Kirby's life. Okay? So you need to read that. Okay? So are you writing this down?
I am. It says Kirby and Jack Kirby.
There you go.
You know what,
and
Robbie?
then pick up any random issue of Jack Kirby Collector. Okay? Well, where you will see original artwork. Right? That's beautiful. And in all of these books, you'll find out a lot of cool information. And in this Mark Evanier book, you'll see some of Jack Kirby's non-comic book work like that to show you how versatile of an artist he actually is. And how, even though he has developed style and he was able to do, by the way, look at that, right? Look at that. He was able to do like 5 comic books a month. Let's get a comic book artist to do that today, okay? You won't be able to, but even if you're not that big of a fan of some of his comic book work.
No, I am a big Kirby fan. I just the whole conversation
I'm
was
not
New
talking
Gods
about-
and Eternals or copy and paste.
Look at that right there, right?
Simple.
Okay.
Simple.
Look at that. Okay. But
That's cool. Looks like Peter
what
Pan.
I'm saying is check out some of that work. And Jack Kirby is the king, the true comics king.
You know,
Brandon.
Jack Kirby gave me his crown. It's sitting right over there. No, but what I was saying on that last sheet was Forever People and Eternals were very copy and paste. And all writers, all artists are guilty of it. And there was Kirby as a king. 100%
Anyway, that's
Kirby.
homework, bro. That's homework. I am not ever going to be on your show again until you read these 2 books and at least pick up 1 issue of Jack Kirby Collector.
You know what, Robbie? I guess I will just have to be on your show in the meantime.
No. Bro, you got homework. You can't come to class again until you at least read these, bro. Okay?
Do you guys
get those books, write them down. It's okay.
All right, you guys. But anyway, chat, thank you guys so much for being here, Robbie. It was a big pleasure, man. You know, I don't usually talk to someone for 3 hours, but when I do, thank you so much for bringing the energy and for bringing this community together in more ways than just talking about them. So thank you, Robbie, so much, man, for being here.
Station.